Lurch.
Yeah, buddy.
So, exciting new product that you'll want to know about in the law-abiding biker store. All right, so I will tell you that we get super busy here, and I have more projects in the works than I have time to do. And so,
sounds about right.
Yeah, it's, you've seen one of these items sitting on the workbench in the law-abiding biker shop for, I want to say, at least the last 9 months to a year.
Oh, really?
By my helmet. All right.
I've probably seen it. I just can't think of what you're talking about at the moment, but I'm sure you'll tell me.
Well, see, I'm sure you saw it there. Or I hope I mentioned it. We'll see.
Okay.
But at any rate, so here's the deal. You know, for almost, over 8 years now, 9 years, we sell in our store. Obviously, if you've listened for any time or follow us on YouTube, you're fully aware of the number one selling, best-selling, strongest, sleekest, sexiest motorcycle cell phone mount on the market. Literally, guys, there's some other companies. The Biker Gripper is just it. It doesn't take a proprietary case. You can use any case you want. It's got 18 pounds grip strength. It looks good. It's built well. It's made in the USA, manufactured right here, guys, in the United States, which is a huge thing. And we have very, very good quality control on it. It's our number one selling item in our store. Mm-hmm. There's some other companies pushing a lot of stuff, guys. There's a bunch of just junk on Amazon, of course. You got crappy plastic. It's straight from a slow boat from China. It's got, straps and bungee cords that go over your phone so it doesn't fall out. The biggest thing, one of the companies that's pushing hard, and I don't know a ton about them, but they obviously are just trying to get in your feed, your Instagram feed and Facebook, and that's the Quad Lock.
Yeah, I see that all over.
And I'm not a fan, guys, and here's why. I'm actually going to get one, and just so I can see it, and I'll put it up against the Biker Gripper. I already don't like it because it takes a proprietary case. I don't want your frickin' case on my phone. I want to choose either not to have a case, or if I want a case, I want to choose my own case. I don't want to be stuck with your damn case. So I know you guys see a lot of that Quad Lock stuff out there. That company is, I don't know a ton about it. We need to do some research. It's probably not, I don't even know if it's an American company. Might be from overseas. Obviously, they're just pushing in your feed to get you to buy those things. I'm not saying they're like, I don't know the quality. We're going to get one. Anyways, I know our Biker Gripper beats it already because you don't need a case with ours. And it's got a badass law-abiding biker logo on it. Tried and tested. Right here, it's been through wrecks. Anyways, I'm already off track, but I'm going to get back on track. The reason I tell you all that is, so this sat on the workbench. So what I wanted, and we've been asked over the years, Lurch, and I can't believe I haven't done it yet. I should have did this 9 years ago. A lot of people are like, you're right. It is the best cell phone head mount in the world, and we like it. And although we're bikers, we love riding our motorcycles. We obviously, a lot of us have to spend some times in a cage. Well, we want to be able to take our Biker Gripper and we want to have that mounted in our car because we like it so much on our motorcycle. Why wouldn't we want it in our car? So I set it on a mission 9 months ago, and I started testing some.
Well, ignore that. Sorry.
Yeah, Lurch he's watching YouTube videos over here.
No, I was doing a little bit of research on Quad Lock while you're talking.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And again, we don't know anything about Quad Lock, so if you're affiliated with them, I'm just bashing them because I don't, regardless of their quality, I don't want your damn case. Any company that makes a proprietary case for a cell phone mount I don't want it. So I set out on this mission. I wanted a couple options, to mount in a car because guys, and gals have asked us over the years. So here's the deal. Different than a lot of their companies. I don't want to just get you some crappy mount. Like if it's going to stand up to the quality of a Biker Gripper, I need quality mounts. And so the only way to do that is for me to personally receive them. I reached out to some different vendors and stuff, and for me to test it. I also want to keep it affordable because you can get out of control too. So there's a fine line in there between affordable and quality. And so this one was sitting on the workbench. I actually tested a couple. I ordered different versions. Anyways, long story short is they are official in the law-abiding biker store now, guys. You asked, we answered. Why would you not want your biker gripper? I already put one in my truck.
I saw that today.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I put one in my truck. So we've got a couple different options. First option, and this is all in our store. If you go to Biker Gripper and you go to our mounts, the first is a dash mount, and it is also a window mount. Obviously, it's like the suction cup version, and it suction cup to your window. It also comes in a kit. It comes with a dash plate with 3M on it, sticky. So basically, you can put the plate anywhere on your dash. Obviously, then you suction cup it to that. You're all familiar with these type of mounts. They've been around for a while. So that comes in a kit. It's the dash windshield mount. Comes with everything you need. Comes with an alcohol wipe, clean your dash, put it on, all that kind of stuff. The second version that I'm happy to announce that I just put in our store recently is our vent mount. And it's a different type of vent mount than you see the kind that have the slit in them. Mm-hmm. Those, I don't like them. They don't work very well. Ours, and that's why I tested different ones. This thing's freaking secure, Lurch. It has a hook on it, a telescoping hook on the back. And so you basically, as a thumb screw on it, you wind it out, and then you put that hook, you insert it into your vent, and you hook the back of your vent. And then you take that thumb wheel, it's a very subdued thumb wheel, and you tighten it down. It's basically, and the back of it up against your vents has a rubber silicone material, so it's not going to damage your vents. That keeps it from slipping too. You could literally tighten that thing down, dude. And you suck with that hook, you suck that thing right against your vent levers there. Mm-hmm. Whatever you call them, vent blades.
Louvers?
Blades, I guess. The thing is fucking solid, dude.
Nice.
I was so stoked with this particular one that I tested that's the one in my truck now. And I put one in the wife's car. And so whether you want the dash mount or the vent mount, and it actually goes out from your vent a ways, so it's not right on your vent. It gives you some distance. And of course, both these mounts, the biggest thing was the ball on it works perfectly with our biker gripper head. And even though, here's the deal, even though they'll say it's the same ball size, some are sloppy. It depends how they're manufactured and machined. I got the two that we actually made it to our store the ball is tight. So I know. I could go a lot of places with that. So you don't have to crank your biker gripper head nut down.
You don't have to crank your ball.
You don't got to crank your nut down. You don't got to crank on your ball too much. It fits really snug and nice. You barely tighten up the biker gripper nut, but yet you still have the adjustability, to go landscape or portrait, everything you're familiar with the biker gripper head. And it just looks good and sleek in the car. Here's another thing I want to talk about while we're talking about this. So here's the deal. I'm not against them, but I'm the high-tech redneck. And yes, I am a tech geek. So here's what I'll tell you. So a lot of guys have asked us, not a lot, a few have asked us, what about we've got on the iPhone, we've got MagSafe charging on the back. It's the magnet. And so they're coming out with a lot of chargers where, it's magnetic on the back, and you plug those into your cigarette lighter. So every time you put your phone up on the magnetic charger, MagSafe charger, it's charging your phone. And so we have been asked for that. And there are some companies making some of those mounts. And I'm not talking bad about them. You do you, boo. That's what I'm telling you. But I want to educate some of you all. That's not the best thing to do. Here's why. The companies that sell those don't tell you this, and it might work for you. You might be on the new phone plan where every time they come out with a new phone, you get a new phone. It doesn't matter whether it's iPhone or Android. It's bad on your battery to do that. It's your battery on your phones. They only have so many charge cycles. You can actually get in and see how much health is left in your battery on the iPhone. You can on Android too. You can see how many cycles it's been through. In a perfect world, you would basically use your phone. You wouldn't charge it till it was down to, 10, 15%. And then you would charge it back up to 100 and you wouldn't put it back on the charger till it needed to be, because your battery's getting somewhat of a memory, and it's also losing life the more charge cycles you put it through. And so it really ruins your battery doing that. So every time you put it up there during the day on your car, magnetic charger, it's screwing your battery. And so in a year, most of the time, if you're doing that, within a year, you're going to be down to 80% on that battery. So we haven't been super in a hurry to get that technology and amount, because like in my Ford truck, I have a thing down there, charging pad where you can set it on.
Right.
I don't do that. I do actually try to keep my battery health to a certain level and not charge it every time it gets in. I try to wait till it gets in. I'm not always great at that, especially if I'm like, I got to shoot video in a little bit, or I need my phone for something. But I'm not saying we won't bring that in the future. I just haven't talked about it before, and I thought it was a good time is to let you guys know, if you're using those kind of chargers, just be aware you're ruining your battery by just every time you get a chance charging your phone. Now, they do have built-in smart charging. The iPhone, and I believe Android has it too, where it's supposed to learn your activity. And if you're putting your phone prematurely, it's not quite supposed to top it off. It's supposed to hold it. It doesn't really work for a busy life like most of us, because it can't figure out when you're coming or going unless you are the same schedule every day. So I know that stuff's built in. It does help with the life of these batteries. But you all know, you have a phone, after a year, it starts, you're like, this just doesn't hold in a charge as long. I can't get as much time out of this. Well, that's why, is because either way it's going to go down, but you're promoting it by using those type of chargers. Again, if that's you, do you. It's not bad. Maybe you're on the upgrade plan and you get a new phone every year. Well, then just give your problem to somebody else when you sell it. Anyways, I'm not saying we won't come out with that. I'm not against it. I just thought you should be aware. That's why we weren't kicking down doors to get a MagSafe type charger, biker gripper. Just like in my Ford, if I need to charge it, I'll just plug it in. The thing is, your MagSafe charger goes to the cigarette lighter anyways. You know what I mean? Think about it. Your MagSafe charger on your dash, well, it's plugged in too. That's the only way you can charge your phone. So I'll put it in the biker gripper. If I need to charge my phone, I'll just plug my phone in. Yeah. So, they sound great at glance, and it seems so convenient, but when you actually break it down like that, you're like, really, it's not that big of a convenience. And I'm ruining my battery. All right, there you go, guys. Get hooked up, lawabidingbiker.com/store. We literally have them in stock, and we will get them shipped out. Lurch, you need to just put them in.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm going to have to get that.
Lurch will pull one out of inventory. Yeah.
I've got a head at home, so I'll grab one of those mounts and put it in there, put it in my truck.
Grab a head at the store and a mount.
No, I have one sitting at the house.
Okay. All right,
I'll take another one if you want me to.
Yeah, well, it's up to you. You kind of have access.
Yeah.
It's one of the benefits.
Uh-huh.
All right, guys. So for a lot of years, we've been using this company. Speaking of the store, every time we send you guys a package, you're getting stickers in your box. And we put a Biker Revolution sticker. We put our main law-abiding biker sticker in there, and a little love, right? With every package.
There's a free good time in every box.
A free good time.
Even though Rick has retired from the store, we are still continuing to put good times in each box.
That's right. It's something we carried over. I packaged a lot of stuff recently. I put a good time in every box.
Good.
Now those stickers
I forgot to tell you. I'm glad you remembered.
It is. Yeah. It is. Each order, I had a note for myself. Don't forget to put the good time in. So, so we've been using this company to make those stickers for many years. Now we're not affiliated with this company necessarily. We just like this company as far as the quality. And so because we've been using them, they did sponsor a couple episodes, as far as, hey, you guys have been using us for so long, and I'm sure they saw we ordered an assload of stickers over so many years. They're like, hey, we'll sponsor a few episodes. If you want to throw us out there, we'll send you a bunch of new stickers at no cost. So we're getting a bunch of stickers from, and we said, yeah, it's just a small little deal here, but I like them well enough that I was like, yeah, I'll do that for an exchange. I believe in this company, or I wouldn't still be using them. Sticker Mule, guys, It's the easiest way to buy custom stickers, decals, labels, and other printing online. Order in 60 seconds. That's right, guys. And they'll turn your designs and illustrations into custom stickers, magnets, buttons, labels, and packaging in days. I forget all they do. We mostly just get stickers, but they offer free online proofs, free worldwide shipping, and super fast turnaround. There's no joke on that. We get our stickers quick, and we buy large bulk of stickers. We use them right here at Law Abiding Biker. Like I said, you can get them at Sticker Mule. That's Sticker Mule, stickermule.com, stickermule.com, guys. And drop them a line. Let them know you heard it on the Law Abiding Biker podcast. We'd appreciate that. We don't have an affiliate link to send you to or anything like that, so it can't be tracked. So the only way they know is if you drop them a line and tell them you heard it on our podcast. But yeah, they're doing they do packaging tape too, don't they? With your company logo for like packaging and things like that. Yeah, they do a plethora.
They even do t-shirts.
T-shirts, okay. That's stuff I didn't know till we got hooked up with them here as far as running a ad in the podcast here to find out. And they've grown, I think, and have added more stuff over time.
Even they can do bubble mailers and poly mailers, all kinds of stuff for you.
Wow. Very cool, guys. There you go. Stickermule.com. All right, what do we got here? A email. Mm-hmm. You want to handle this and a Facebook comment?
This is actually a Facebook comment.
Okay.
In appreciation of our lab videos. This guy was new to lab. So he says, "Hello, sir." Very polite. Thank you. I just watched a video on your maintenance for Harleys. I am a brand new to street bikes after 30 years of not being on a street bike. I just purchased a 2000 Heritage Softail and absolutely am stoked about riding again. Thank you for the greatest info on the fluid changes, as I love working on my own bike, as I had dirt bikes my whole life. I am 58 and feel it's time to enjoy the road. Looking forward to your videos and a great Facebook page you have provided. Stay safe and glad to be here.
Nice. Thank you so much. And he just went over to lawabidingbiker.com. Oh, no, that was a Facebook comment. He actually commented on Facebook, so never mind. But if you want to contact us direct, lawabidingbiker.com/contact, leave a voicemail over there from your computer, phone, or a email. With that said, I was having this conversation the other day. I'm not going to get political here. It's just a fact. The economy's shit, and it went to shit. And so whatever, like I said, we're not going down that road. I'm just saying, no matter how you slice it, whatever reasons you want to make up or not make up, the economy's really went to shit. Inflation, prices. Lurch and I were just talking. Mm-hmm. He got 2 burgers from a burger place the other day and fries, and it's like $30.
Yep.
You know, you're all seeing it. It's all hitting our pocketbook, and it's here and it's real, regardless of the reasons. Now, with that said, the conversation I was having is oil change at Harley Davidson right now, with the tough economic times it is. There's no better time, honestly. Now is the time that people are pinching pennies, when before we had expendable cash, is to get maintenance videos. And the reason is, guys, they're going to become more and more popular because more and more people are not going to have the luxury of paying Harley Davidson $450 for an oil change. For the price of our video, it's already paid for itself like 20 times over, just one purchase. So the first oil change, it's paid for itself with 1 quart of oil, or let's just say the 6 quarts of oil, it's paid for itself, right?
Between the video, $35, and the oil, around $100, you've automatically saved yourself $300
on your first oil change.
On your first oil change.
And then every oil change after, guys. If you're not doing your own oil changes, there is nothing special that Harley does, guys. Our videos, we've got it for pre-Milwaukee 8 for the twin cam, and we've got it for the Milwaukee 8. So we've got 2 separate videos for those. We've also got it for the Softail.
Oh, yeah.
Right, because the oil tank and all that's a little different. So it's in those videos, guys. It shows you that. So don't worry about that. The thing is you can head over to lawabidingbiker.com/buy videos. That's lawabidingbiker.com/buy videos. All our premium videos for purchase videos are over there. Well, our oil change and maintenance videos are over there. In those videos, it's not just an oil change. We show you how to inspect the brakes. Of course, then if you want to change your brakes, we got free videos all over YouTube on how to do that. But how to inspect that, how to do belt tension, how to, everything it's everything. How to inspect everything on your bike, basically more than what Harley does. because they pretty much just change your oil. If you tell them to look at your brakes, they'll look at your brakes. They say they do. We've talked about this before, like 250 point inspection. There's not even 250 damn things to check on the Harley unless you're checking the seat. Yep, the seat's on. Yes, the tires are on. Yes, the handlebars are still there. They just don't, guys. And they're literally in and out. And in fact, Lurch has a little story here. It's another dealership story. And we hardly ever I don't remember the last time I took my bike to a dealership. In fact, I take my rear wheel off and I take it down there to get my, just because I don't have a tire machine, and I'll pay them just to do the wheel, or you can pay an independent shop to do that. Lurch was in a bind.
Yeah, we were running short on time. We were going to take a trip to test this Indian Pursuit, which is the thing we're talking about on this podcast here. And just, I've been busy, and I didn't have time to get it done. And so I unfortunately decided to take my bike to our local dealership and have them do the whole job, take the tire off and do all that and put it back on. And a couple days later, I was listening to my bike and I thought, damn, this thing sounded a little bit ratty. My header was cracked. And what had happened is, in order to get the axle out on my bike in particular, because I've got the Vance Hines OS 450 slip-ons, they're a little bit larger, and you have to drop the left side exhaust down to get the axle out. Well, the mechanic had loosened up, taken out 2 bolts that hold the bracket on for the crossover clamp. I don't know why he just didn't undo the crossover clamp, but he took the 2 bolts out of the top of the clamp so it would drop down and he can get the exhaust down and get the axle out. Well, he didn't put those bolts back in. So now you've got tension on that crossover, and it cracked the crossover, broke. So thanks. Had to buy a new header because I didn't do my own work. So it's just reassurance, and just, made me realize that taking it to the dealership is a bad idea. And I should have done it myself. And so that was just some validation of that.
That's one of like 50 stories that we have. And we just don't take our bikes to the dealership. And the one time we do, they F it up again.
Yeah.
And
good reminder. Thanks. Appreciate it. Good reminder.
Yeah, good reminder.
Myself.
Yep. Kick me in the ass, bend me over. The thing is with that, guys, is good luck. We know the dealership did it, but good luck going down there and tell them they're just going to say we didn't even do that. We didn't remove those bolts. Yeah. We could see that they removed them because the threads were shiny metal. So there was no dirt, no grime in them. It literally came to the dealership, and then we realized it happened. They just didn't put them back in. And it's unfortunate. It is what it is. Nobody will treat your bike and work on it like you will. And that's what we've preached for years here at Law Abiding Biker Meet. It's how we started. It's how we continue. We've got hopefully a wheel bearing video coming out soon. I've got them. That's, I think, one of the ones I'm going to release next. Anyways, during these tight time, guys, have the satisfaction of working on your own bike yourself. Have the confidence to do it with our videos. All the free ones on YouTube, so detailed. And then, of course, our premium videos. Get hooked up with one of our oil change and maintenance videos. Again, for the Twin Cam and the Milwaukee 8. Lurch lightly mentioned it. I think I interrupted him, but we do have one for Indian too, on the Thunderstroke. They've got the new, which we're going to talk about in this episode, the new liquid cooled Power Plus motor. That's a different motor, so we haven't inspected that or done a change video on that, so I don't want to push that one because we need a little more information. But at least the Thunderstroke, the air cooled, all that, guys. We've got them over there, and we appreciate, and also, you're supporting us, guys. Just a bootstrap company, a bunch of bikers trying to help as many bikers as we can worldwide. Want to ride longer? Tired of a sore neck? Yes, then fix it with a high-quality butt buffer seat cushion. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. Check out our full line of butt buffer seat cushions. Oh, yeah, once you've used Rick Rack, you'll never go back. The ultimate motorcycle luggage rack solution. Forget those messy straps and bungee cords. Go strapless with a Rick Rack quick attach luggage system and quality bag. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. Get hooked up now. Lurch.
Yeah, buddy.
Guess what?
What?
Ciro 3D has a wide variety of innovative products for your Harley-Davidson and a brand new line for the all-new Honda Goldwing named Gold Strike.
I like gold.
Top quality, affordable chrome lighting and comfort products. Ciro Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. Check out our full line of Ciro 3D products. All right, guys. So we've got an awesome freaking episode for you guys. I've been looking forward to this one. Welcome back, you freaking bikeaholics. This is a podcast for the motorcycle majority, the Big MM, also known as the
99%.
Large, and in charge of the motorcycle scene more than any time in history. By being here, by listening, you're part of what we call the hashtag
Biker Revolution.
We do have just one question before we get started. What are you waiting for, bikeaholics?
Mount up and let us take you on another wild-ass ride.
There you go. Ryan Urlacher, your host of the Law-Abiding Biker Podcast, and of course, your
high-tech redneck.
Lurch in the house. We've already spent time talking about a lot of stuff. We're going to dive right in here in a moment to our main topic, which is the 2023 Indian Pursuit Ride and Review. I'm going to break that down, how I got one that I still have sitting out here right now as of the time of this podcast. We had got it to keep it a bit longer, but I'm going to give you the most thorough review that you've probably had on an Indian Pursuit. I'm going to do it my style, the way I do things, guys. I like to get detailed, especially because it's the first time that I've got my hands on this. I did do an Indian review in the past, and we've done some Indian videos when they release stuff, but the one I did in the past was a Challenger, and I borrowed it from Squirt, and I only had it for like a couple days, and so it was a bit more of a rush review, but nonetheless, that video has like 50,000+ views. So it did well, and so I wanted to do a very thorough review because I haven't got to review a lot of Indians. So it's going to be a very, very thorough review. Of course, we did a YouTube video on it. Before this podcast come out, I'm hoping to have that video drop in the next 5 days so when's this podcast will it go out after that?
This one will be the first one of next month. So it'll be, what is today?
So if I drop my video in the next 5 days, this will come out after.
I take it
except
back.
to Patron members, because they get this immediately in the back end of their account. So if you're a Patron member, you're going to get this episode months before everybody else.
This one will come out the end of the month.
End of this month?
Last one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're a little behind on recordings.
Yeah.
We've been busy.
We have. So usually it's months before. Generally speaking, now it'll just be weeks. But nonetheless, if you're a Patron member and you're listening to this in the back end of your Patron amount, because you get it right away, Lurch is going to upload this for all you guys. The video might not be out yet. I'm hoping as of the date of this recording to have that video out max by next weekend, which is 6 days, I guess, or 5 days.
That Indian video on the Challenger has 185,000 views.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I did that a couple of years ago. So, let's do this real quick and then we will dive in. So what I was saying is hopefully get the video out soon. It's in deep edit and I feel like I'm putting the finishing touches on it. I just had to pause for the last week on it. So I'm going to get back up on it. We've just been really, really busy around here. So you want to mention this? We always mention tons of videos coming out on the YouTube channel. Get subscribed over there. Really, guys, please. We're at like 198,000 subs. Get us over the 200K. Just go over there. It's free. Subscribe.
So close.
That way you're notified when we come out with so many free videos. This is one of tons we could mention, but we're just going to do one.
So this is a video. It's a review video on the Harley-Davidson Rockford Fosgate audio system. So it's the Harley-Davidson audio powered by Rockford Fosgate. Harley was kind enough to send us a system to install and review. And when they sent it, I was just thinking they're going to send an amp and a couple fairing speakers. I guess I didn't really elaborate on what we were looking for, but they hooked us up. We got 2 amplifiers, fairing speakers, saddlebag, lid speakers, and 2 subwoofers. So we got the full system to review. Check it on out over there. The link is in the show notes. And in addition to that, we also did a tutorial on how to do that installation. So if you buy a system and you want to save yourself some money and put it in yourself, we've got a installation video.
Lawabidingbiker.com/buy videos. Yep. Same place as the oil change videos, guys. Yeah, good, Lurch. It's a good review video. And so we love our sponsors. We want to get to know you better. And so these people are, get you in the private Facebook group, get you some benefits, all that. Well, these folks decided they wanted all that. And these are some of our newest Patron members that we want to thank that are also a reason this episode's coming to you.
We'd like to thank Sid Asklund, of St. James, Minnesota, Robert Booth of West Warwick, Rhode Island, and Zachary Burnett of Mustang, Oklahoma.
There you go. Thanks so much, guys. lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patron. Pledge a certain amount per piece of content. No risk to you because you could put a monthly cap. There are benefits such as t-shirts and stickers, access to the private Facebook group, which is a troll-free zone, literally nothing but bikers helping and connecting with other bikers in there. You get access to podcasts early like this one, access to premium videos up on request, live video broadcasts and chat, and of course, access to those ride, meetup, and events, guys. And we really appreciate it. You know, earlier in this episode, I talked about the economy and people tightening purse strings. And we just want to say, you know, these sort of things, the fact that you guys continue to sign up, our current patrons that continue to support us, even though things have got tightened up, just means even that much more to us. It's the only way during these tight times we can keep going. It's a foundation of what we do and income that shows us, you know, what we can and how much we can provide. And we just want to keep this community together. And so by you guys continuing to sign up and remaining as patrons means absolutely the world to us right now. So thank you so much for some of our newest patrons right there. All right. So the main topic, Indian Pursuit, and we're going to get going here. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll try not to go too long on this episode because we're trying to record a couple at least today.
It'll take what it takes.
That's usually the way it goes, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
we always have great intentions of keeping them around an hour, and then next thing you know, it's an hour and a half, hour 45, sometimes two.
We're already at 35 in. Can you believe that? It's crazy. So the 2023 Indian Pursuit, it's going to be a complete, thorough review here on the podcast, which the podcast I get to say even more than I do on the video. Even the video is going to end up a little over 30 minutes. A lot of times I try to keep videos, you know, just attention span with people these days. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to do a thorough review of this thing, you won't be bored with it. It's popping, but there is so much that I needed to talk about on this bike. We always get the, you know, Indian versus Harley, and you get a lot of people that, you know, smack talk each other online, and it's just this old Ford Chevy thing, and I like it. It's to a certain extent, but it gets a little old too. So I didn't want to make this a complete comparison. We may make some vague comparisons just because, you know, basically if you were going to compare this bike, the closest that you can do, which there's still a lot of differences, is the new 2023 CVOs from Harley Davidson. And with the Indian Pursuit, you know, we had the Dark Horse with the premium package. That's as close as you're going to get for a comparison. So we're going to make very few, but I'm going to make some vague comparisons just because it gives context to what we're talking about. But honestly, we support all bikes here. That's why I'm reviewing Indians, Harleys. I'll review Honda if they send it. I'll review BMW if they send, you know, whatever. We just love street, dirt, adventure. I don't care. We support all motorcycles, all brands, as long as your knees are in the breeze. So this is going to be a fair and balanced review. As always, even the Harleys that I review, I always at the end, even if it's nitpicky, to date, I haven't found a perfect bike. There's always something that I think they can do better, or something. A lot of it can just be personal, that I would like it if they did this more. It doesn't mean it's bad. Doesn't mean it's good. It's what you need to be aware of, because whether you're buying a Harley or an Indian, you're dropping some coin. So you should be educated on what your needs are, you know, what would affect you, how you ride, things like that. So I'm almost positive that you won't find a more thorough YouTube review on the Indian Pursuit or this podcast. I do want to preface it with this. I purposely didn't, and I know this is weird. I swear to God, I never read one article. I never watched one video on an Indian Pursuit ever. I knew that I was working towards getting an Indian Pursuit for myself long-term to test ride and review. And I apologize for that. I have a cold, guys, still. So I'll work with my voice here, but I knew I was going to get one eventually. I didn't want to be tainted. I wanted to go into this. So I purposely stayed away from everything. Now, had I seen pictures of them, of course, but I never, ever, I didn't want to be swayed by what somebody else said or what they think. I wanted to go into it completely open-minded, and I wanted to learn the pros and cons for myself and what I liked and what I didn't like. So Indian, thank you. Shout out. They sent me a bike. Harley sent them to us before here, and Indian stepped up. They're a third-party marketing company, and we appreciate them working with us. They got it to me, shipped it here. That was like September 14th. Oh, wait.
Yep. That's what the notes say.
Well, that's wrong.
Oh, okay.
I just realized that's a typo. So let me look at our calendar. It would have been shipped to me September.
It was earlier, like the week before, wasn't it?
It was August 24th.
Oh, a couple weeks before.
So August 24th, and I still had it. So they let me keep it. I was going to have it for 2 weeks, and then, oops, we're both typing, and then I deleted it in our work thing here.
Whoa.
But that's what I mean. We were both. I'm off it now.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and fix it. It just says August, doesn't matter. But anyways, August 24th. And then they let me keep it for 2 weeks. And then they emailed me and said, hey, do you want to keep it longer? I'm like, well, sure. I'll keep it as long as you want because I'm riding the bejesus out of this thing. So I still have it at the time of this podcast. And I'm not sure when they're going to pick it up, but I'm going to keep riding it. And I rode it this weekend back and forth to the store and stuff like that. So we do appreciate it. Obviously, no strings attached. And as you'll see in this episode, I'll say what I want because I'm going to give you an honest review. I don't care. I'm going to tell you what I really liked about it and what I really didn't, just like I would do with any bike, regardless if they sent it to me, guys, because that's what you guys have come to expect on this channel. I know you see a lot of the other videos out there and they just ride them and not just Indian. I'm just talking about bikes in general and just gawk and don't ever give like anything like critical about it. So we are going to break it down and get a little bit critical about it. So Lurch hooked us up and made a quick trip. We were like, okay, here's the deal. We want to take this bike. And I thought I only had it for just about 2 weeks. And with our schedule, we basically had 1 weekend where we could lay a lot of miles together. Mm-hmm. So Lurch planned a trip east of here over to like Lake Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And anyways, I'm going to say it's a little over 600 miles in a weekend or something like that.
About right.
Yeah. We did an overnighter and I'm still sick. I've been sick for 20, I think we said 28 days now. I finally got some antibiotics. So it's been crazy cold. Anyways, I wasn't feeling well. During that trip, day 2, I completely lost my voice and I'm supposed to be moto vlogging.
How much voiceover have you had to do?
Some.
Yeah.
Yeah. To make up for sometimes coming through on video when I was moto vlogging on my, in my helmet, it sounded bad to me. But when I got it on video editor, it's totally doable. People won't mind. Yeah. But day 2, it's cracky.
Yeah, day 2 at lunch, you were just about out of voice.
It sounds bad. So I had to voice over. Luckily, the good chunk of it, because I knew that might be coming, I did the day before. That's okay. So, and there's just some things that I didn't talk about when vlogging that I'm going to have to clean up with voiceover. So yeah, I did voiceover quite a bit for certain parts of it. But we had to do this trip and I knew I was sick, even running a mild fever, I think. But we had limited time. It's one shot. They're going to take the bike back and I'm not just going to ride this around town or local, guys. I wanted to the only way to learn a bike and learn what you do and don't like is saddle time.
And that route gave us a good combination of roads. We had some, back country highway roads, that are straight, maybe had some curves. But then we also got into some mountainous areas where we had some good tight corners, up and downhill. And then coming home, we even bombed down the freeway for a while, at high speed. So we got a good combination, a little bit of all the different riding that one would do.
It's true. It was a good route for that. And that's kind of what we wanted is a kind of every different type of environment. So first thing, of course, I had to make the cockpit ready. And so the night before, or two nights before, by the time you planned this trip, we had like 2 days. I was working at my regular job, paying job. And this was stressful and I was sick on top of it. Most of it's a blur.
It was a bit of a rush job as compared to what we would normally do.
Correct.
Yeah. Normally we're prepping ahead of time and getting the bikes loaded and all that kind of stuff and getting our route and, having it really dialed in. This was just a really rough route just to get us out and back. We were literally throwing the shit on our bikes the morning of before we took off. And so it kind of reminded me of the old days a little bit. It was kind of It might have been a little stressful, but
it was
a little fun too.
Had I not been sick, it wouldn't have been as stressful.
Well, I know it's stressful for you in general. You just like to be very organized.
Yeah.
You know.
Plus, I'm working full time. You know, and I mean, not that you aren't working, but I got 2 jobs. Yeah. So, and I was out at nights in the shop trying to get familiar with this thing. Yeah. So it was a throw together and trying to get camera gear ready. Anyways, long story short, I threw a biker gripper on it. Obviously. I can't run 600 miles without my phone up on my handlebars. It's just I don't know how guys would ride without that.
That's something we learned when we went to Milwaukee. For the 120th, we are definitely always taking a couple of universal mounts with us in our bag so we can throw one on there. Because even though I had my phone connected to my Senna, you know, she doesn't always give you a whole lot of warning, especially if you're in an unfamiliar area, you know. So it's nice to have that up on your handlebar to take a look down once in a while and realize maybe I should start working my way over.
Right.
Yeah.
Visual is
it helps.
a big part of directions. Yes. So yeah, put that up there. And then, so then the next day we were going to take off. Obviously the other thing the biker gripper is in the store, guys. Obviously I got to have a cup holder, especially all the time. Safety, guys. Coffee in the morning. You got to stay hydrated. I don't know how guys ride to this day.
I can tell you because I used to do it.
It's crazy. Like, how would you not?
You just get parched, man.
Like a 12-hour day. How do you not have water at all times?
You stop and you have water when you get off and unasked for a while, but that's just not fun.
No. Well, and you're not staying hydrated that way. You need to be drinking all the time.
Listen, guys, if you're thinking, well, that cup holder doesn't look cool on my bike, well, don't worry about cool. Worry about comfort, because I mean, I'm guilty of it. There's a lot of things I didn't put on my bike in my younger years because I didn't think it looked cool. I was trying to be cool, right? Now I realize how important comfort is. And these cup holders, especially the all blacked out ones, they blend into your bars really well. It's a good looking cup holder. Just get one on your bike, because then when you're going down the road, if you got a modular helmet or a half helmet, you can have a little sip.
When it's 100 degrees, so 110 riding through New Mexico, and you don't have water available while you're riding, I just don't understand that. But yeah, you're touring.
Yeah.
If you want to, obviously, if you got your bar hopper and you ride it to lunch to the McDonald's and you ride it to the bar local, well, I get it. You're not necessary. If you're touring, just get rid of the cool factor.
Yeah.
Comfort is everything when you're riding 10 days in a row for 4,000 miles. Comfort and convenience and having your cockpit set up for safety to keep you awake, coffee, to keep you hydrated, water, to have your phone up there, entertainment. So you get tired. I've damn near fell asleep before. So to be able to put a podcast on or call my wife to keep me awake, absolutely crucial. So obviously it's our beloved Ciro cup holder. We've got different models. We've got a regular black chrome perch mount, universal mount, and it's all over in the Law Abiding Biker store for fitment and what you need. But so I got those two things on the old Indian. Now this is an interesting point too, real quick. So the Indian Pursuit, our mounts are, so we've got a universal mount that goes around a bar, 7/8 to 1 1/4, and then we have a up to 1.5 inch bars, right? There's two different models.
Yep.
So we also have, they fit Harley. We've got two different bolts in them, sets of bolts. One's for, standard for Harley, American, basically SAE, right?
Yep.
And then we've got the metrics for Indian, because Indian runs metrics bolts for the perch mount. And that comes in your kits, guys. So these are for Indian or Harley. So what we found recently, and I confirmed it when I tried it, and you had already confirmed it, I just didn't know.
Yeah, I hadn't told you yet. Just oddly enough, just a couple of days before, we had a gentleman buy the biker gripper and try to put it on a perch mount and put it on an Indian Pursuit, and it did not fit.
Describe the perch mount.
The perch
control mount.
The perch mount or control mount. It has to make it simple, it's an L-shaped bracket that some two replacement bolts will go through, and then
your control clusters. It basically mounts on the two bolts at your half clamp at your control clusters.
Yep, and it's got a couple of spacers that space it out so that it'll tighten everything down. Well, on the Indian Pursuit, the half clamp is shaped differently. It's bigger, if that makes any sense, but
sticks out a little farther.
Sticks out farther, so you can't get it tightened up right. So we got a hold of the people that make the biker gripper for us, and they're working.
Our manufacturer,
they're working on a solution for that. But we did update the store listing to show that it does not fit on the Indian Pursuit 2023 Indian Pursuit at this time.
But what you can do, and what I did, honestly, if I had an Indian Pursuit, I wouldn't even get the control mount. That's just me. Here's why. Those bars have so much room.
There's a lot of room on them.
Dude, just put a universal. That's what I did. I put a universal chrome. It pops off the black, or you can get a black. The way the bars are, there's plenty of room, and then it's just simple, and then you can adjust it any way you want. So I just put it over on the right side. And there was enough room to even fit on the left side, even though the cup holder I did do the perch mount, Ciro perch mount. For the cup holder's the same thing. We got universal bar mounts round. You can mount that, or you can mount the perch. And I did the perch on the Indian, didn't I?
I don't know. Let me go look. I thought you did universal on both.
Go take a look. He's going to go look. We're going to take a quick break. All right, so Lurch just got back in from checking. He put it on for me at the store. I didn't have it here at the shop, so we stopped by the store, and he actually grabbed one out of stock. So he chose, I'm not sure why, and it works fine, is another universal for the Ciro cup holder. He put the universal over there. And there's plenty of room on those bars, so you technically don't, if you do have an Indian Pursuit, guys, you can get a biker gripper right now, and you can get the cup holder and just do the bar mounts if you want. So, Lurch is not sure why he could have chose a perch mount for the cup holder, but he didn't. And I even forgot.
Probably so that in the future you can continue to use this on bikes. I believe is why we did.
And plus it was easier. Yeah. We don't have to remove bolts from the bike, which we would, but we don't need to. So that's probably why.
You can keep these two in your stock, and
there you go.
Take them with you when you do other reviews.
There you go. So some information about that, guys. So all hooked up there. And so also we threw in, we do have the Cruise Tools kits, guys. We've got the RTH3, which is for Harley. It's got a roll tool kit. They're so popular. You guys have heard us talk about them before in the store. The Cruise Tools RTH3 for Harley. And then, of course, the Indian is a metric. And so we, as far as metric tools and metric bolts, so I threw... we also have these in stock in the store, which is our metric version. It's called the M3. And it's also a roll tool kit for metric bikes, guys. Got all your common stuff, because Lurch was carrying a Harley kit, RTH3, but we haven't been riding the metric. So we're like, what if we need tools? So we threw that in there. Of course, we added a multi-tool with it. That's just some more options. You roll it up in the kit with you, all in our store. And of course, we threw a first aid kit, one of our beloved law-abiding biker first aid and trauma kits in there. And then we were off. So here's where I'll start. Lurch, we got a lot of information here. So you guys, or you jump in, because Lurch was with me riding the whole time. And I related some stuff to him, and or you might have some questions or further conversation and stuff. So like usual, interrupt me, because I'll get going. So first thing I did, is their ride command system, which is their 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system. It's the competitor, if you will, to like the Harley Boombox. Now, I've heard a lot of things about the ride command, and it's unfortunate. Online, we all know that you get a lot of misinformation. And there's going to be Indian lovers that won't say bad things about Indian, and there's going to be Harley lovers that won't say anything bad about Harley. So again, I didn't watch any reviews, but I had heard people say the ride command is so perfect and so superior to the Boombox that it's God, and you will drop to your knees and shake at its power. All right. So this is some of the stuff I've seen over the years online. So first thing I did is got on the Ride Command website. They have their own, if you will, Harley Ride Planner. It's Ride Command. It's on Indian's website. It's a trip planner map. I've played with it before when I did some app review stuff, but it's been a long time since I've been in there. So it's got a pretty decent UI, guys. It's decent, and it's pretty easy to learn. I would like to do a video eventually on it, but it's got all your standard stuff, your maps, your different filters, satellite, street view, adding waypoints, dragging routes, renaming waypoints. It's got all your standard features. Again, decent UI. So Lurch had kind of planned to ride on a different, I think he did it on Rever.
I did.
But to test this bike, a big part of these bikes these days is their infotainment systems. And we need to know whether these infotainment systems and these infrastructures, if you will, as far as trip planning and all that kind of stuff is worthy. of a $35,000 bike. So again, it's free software. It's on Indian's website. It matches with the ride command on the bike. And so that's the one you'd want to use theoretically if you want to use the integrated GPS, if you're not going to use, your phone or something else. The satellite GPS, if you will. So it's got all your basic stuff. It did not take me long. And again, this is a fair and honest review. It did not take me long to find glitches. It was a little bit clunky. It kept trying to reverse. It auto reversed my routes, and then I'd have to reverse it back, or I'd have to reorder. I'd have to go and drag and reorder stuff. It just automatically switched them. Didn't put waypoints in the correct place. If you just dropped them on a route, unless you zoomed in and find out. But that's, again, a lot of what I'm saying is also some of the glitches in Harley's Ride Planner. So I'm not just picking on Indian here, guys. And I've talked a lot of crap about the boombox in the past. So what I'm about to say about Ride Command and through this episode is no different than the boombox. Just they have different issues and different glitches. And then it wouldn't add a waypoint sometimes. But if you mess around with it enough, like everything, you can find workarounds and you can get it dialed into where you want. So I do like that you can choose a color your route. That's really cool. So different, rides mean you can do colors for whatever it means to you, like technical route or curvy route. And then there's a nice 3D flyover after you plan your ride. It can, different speeds. You can do a nice 3D flyover and see your whole route. It's pretty cool. I don't know how much I'd use the 3D flyover, but it's there. Of course, you can share your rides with friends with a link that can go to Ride Command, and or you can download the GPX file to a thumb drive or memory stick, which is what I did. And then I came out pretty straightforward, uploaded it into the Ride Command system. Everything looked good. At that point, this was nights before the trip. I got it all dialed in, but we would find out some things once I got out on the road on what's going on and whether this map's actually going to work. Again, it's 7-inch touchscreen powered by Ride Command. It does work with finger. It worked pretty decent with gloves, honestly, as far as touchscreen goes. So you got that option there. Now, it does have CarPlay, Apple CarPlay, but just like the boombox, guys, you're going to have a Bluetooth headset connected and wired connection on your phone. It's not wireless Apple CarPlay. Like in my Ford F-150, I can have Apple CarPlay, but I don't have to be wired. But the bikes, for whatever reason, you got to plug your phone in. You need the Bluetooth headset. What headset did I use? My awesome Senna 50S, Harley non-branded, just a regular Senna 50S that we sell in the law-abiding biker store. It worked perfect and fine as far as we'll get to that. It wasn't the headset issue. It's definitely the Ride Command, but we'll get to that. But it paired fine, and no Android Auto, guys. And just to be aware, that is not Indian's fault. Just like the new CVO stuff from Hardy's not coming with Android Auto. That's because Android Auto, which obviously is Google, decided that they weren't going to support the mobile version anymore of Android Auto. So
the motorcycle version, two-wheel version,
right? Mm-hmm. The two-wheel version. Okay, yeah. So it is not Indian or Harley's fault, guys. So all you Android fanboys that are mad, well, then get an iPhone. All right. Anyways.
or tell Google you're pissed off.
Yeah, I'm sure Google will listen to you because.
I'm sure they will. They're such a small company.
Yeah, they're so small. And I mean, their customer service is amazing. And their software is so solid. It never glitches. All right. Anyways. So morning one, we took off and started riding, and it didn't take me long. I started messing with the Ride Command. Now I uploaded the GPX, but once in the GPX or once in the Ride Command, it literally was reversing my routes, which is so frustrating. Trying to take me back home. I'm like, no, I need to go that way. And basically effing around with it. Oh, here's the deal. There's a smartphone app too. But the smartphone app doesn't give you turn by turn. It's visual only. So you have to follow your line, right? So it's not going to speak turn by turn.
Okay.
So I had my phone up in the biker gripper. That's why I wanted it there. And it was fine. Even though it's not giving me turn by turn, it had the home point and end point correct. So it was frustrating in the Ride Command. It's obviously a very glitchy system. And I know so many of you truly who have used it for years will tell of all the times it's pissed you off. That's just an honest thing, guys. So what I did, I believe, if I remember right, I messed around with it. I was able to get in and skip a waypoint or something, and I got it back to where I fixed it on the fly to where I could frickin' take me instead of trying to turn me around. So those were some of the first glitches. There's more as we go through this episode. So here's the other deal is I did my research. You can add, which $100 a year, guys, for Ride Command Plus. Now, what is Ride Command Plus? It basically gives you, this is for the integrated GPS system, live weather and traffic, more intuitive destination search, vehicle location and health information. Now, I did some research on this. Haven't heard a lot about it. I went to Indian's own website for Ride Command Plus, and because I needed to find the price in there. Now, here's the deal. Seriously, 39 reviews, 1 star. So out of those 39 reviews, cumulatively, it's got a 1-star review. Not popular. And so clearly riders are not liking it. Here's my deal. Any company, including Harley or anybody for this, stop trying to charge us to have extra features either on the bike, which they haven't done yet, or within these integrated systems. It's a dumb plan. I wouldn't pay $100 a year just out of spite, because that's ridiculous. I just bought a $35,000 bike. Yeah,
it seems like the new thing that everybody's doing. They are all trying to get a subscription and get more money out of you. It's not just the car or motorcycle businesses. It's like everything. Everybody's just trying to squeeze that extra few bucks a month or a year out of you.
Yep. And when you're buying a $35,000 bike, it should just come with it. Just, I hope they start getting away from it. Clearly people don't like it. And especially when you're trying to add Ride Command Plus, the features they just mentioned, besides vehicle location and health, I can get on my freaking iPhone. It'll do it better. It'll do it faster. It's more detailed information. This stupid integrated systems are just, they got to die. Just stop Indian, stop Harley trying to do these kind of things. Luckily, Harley doesn't do that.
BMW does it too.
Yep. We could go on a whole tangent on that, about, the features are already there, but you got to pay to activate them. That's just dumb. Stop doing that. It pisses customers off. It's better just not to offer it. When you're buying a premium product, that's not something you want to deal with. So I'd be curious to talk to somebody. Apparently people aren't really using, again, why would you pay $100 a year to get stuff that you can get on your iPhone? Anyways, let's talk vents. Let's talk venting real quick. So I did notice this had lowers on it, Dark Horse Pursuit with premium package. But they all come with the lower fairing vents. Very nice. So here's the first thing I noticed. It's very hard to manage those though when riding. They're down in there in your lowers, and you be careful, guys. If you're doing this, you literally have to bend over, reach down, and you have to learn where the handle is for it. Make sure you're looking up ahead at the road, guys. It'd be very easy to crash doing this. So although I like the vents down there, I hope in future iterations, Indian can make that lever, just redesign it so a guy doesn't have to look, and like a little lever at the top of their lower, little thumb thing where they can reach down and activate that. It's dangerous. So, and you're not going to want to stop every time you want to close your vent. So I know guys are going to be doing it, but be careful, look ahead. Hopefully they can get that fixed in the future.
Might even be able to come up with something that you could just reach up with your shoe and push it over, if they designed it correctly.
There you go.
Something you can just get with your foot.
Yep. Anything than the way they have it. I was like, these vents are cool. And then I got on the road. I'm like, these are really hard to manipulate. You have vents on each side of the Ride Command system on the fairing in between basically the speaker, 2 pockets there. That's also, it's not dangerous because your head's up this way, but it's hard to reach. You kind of have to turn your arm over and your palm out and reach through and try to close it, but it can be done. Just something I noted, maybe make that a little bit easier too. And then it's got wind deflectors on each side of the outside fairing. However, interestingly enough, they're not adjustable. On the Harley, they are. I do wish Indian would make them adjustable. Why not? Because I want to direct that air maybe in towards, my thighs or up to the rider. And this is just deflecting air. Well, maybe I want some air. And so just make them so I can open those little things up. But still, glad it had it. But just some things that I think they can do better in future iterations. So let's move down. I want to make sure we stay in some sort of order here.
Hey, bikeaholics, searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? Ciro 3D has the products you dream about for your bike. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for Harley, Davidson, and Honda Goldwing motorcycles. Ciro 3D's got your back with chrome, black parts, lighting, and other comfort products. No modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for an easy installation. That equals less time installing and more time riding. Ciro 3D has a design team of riders with over 40 years of experience with a passion for design and innovation. Ciro and Goldstrike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. They pride themselves on great customer service. Got a question? Get in touch with them via email at sales@ciro3d.com or give them a call at 715-808-0027. Check out your local Harley or Honda dealership and ask for Ciro or Goldstrike parts. A new leader has emerged, so check out Ciro 3D's custom line of Goldstrike products for the all-new Honda Goldwings. Better yet, help support us and head on over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and check out our full line of Ciro 3D products.
All right. Very well. So we talked venting, and I think we're going to move into windshield here if I can get back up here. That's what happens when I make so many notes here.
It's good to be organized, but that is a lot of information. There's your vents.
I cranked this out last night. All right. So, windshield. That's what I thought. So, talking about rider triangle and the airflow. So, here's the deal. I'm not going to get on a tangent on this. I'm just going to throw out facts. Okay, yes, the windshield is electronic. I've talked about this in the past. Some guys absolutely drool and think that is the bee's knees. Like it is the electronic windshield, that there's nothing better. All right, so here's what I'm going to tell you. There is a control on the right handlebar. Yes, the windshield goes up and down electronically. I'm going to talk about some pros and cons of that. Maybe you haven't thought of this. I get it, and some guys are like, I wish Harley would do that. I honestly hope Harley never does that. But if they do, I'll accept it because it is what it is. Here's why. I literally left it down the whole time. I tried to find like pros for it. It's not bad. So I don't want you to think it's bad. If you like that, cool. And it's a feature. I'm just telling you, I try to break things down. Like what's the benefit to me? What's the benefit to the rider? And what are the pros and cons of everything? So I was literally riding this bike thinking of this stuff, and I made vlog notes so I could edit when I edited the video. Here's what I came up with. So I literally left it down the whole time. The windshield was the right height for a guy my size all the way down to knock the wind up and over me. So here's the deal. On an electronic windshield, guys, one of my main cons on it is when you're going to be limited on what windshield you can get. So the look of that bike, if you like the look of that windshield, then that's the way it's pretty much going to stay. The problem is it has all kinds of mechanical things attached to it because it has to be electronic and it's Indian, so there's not as many aftermarket parts. So it's really going to limit you. When I get a motorcycle, we sell F4 Customs and Clockworks in the Law Abiding Biker store, so check us out. We'd love to get a windshield coming your way. I run the F4 Customs right now. Lurch runs a Clockworks. Basically, there's an easy way to measure for the rider. And so we show you in one of our videos, or both of them, I did a Clockworks or I did an F4 Customs, but it's so simple. With a tape measure, you bring one straight out on the head, and then you put another tape measure down like to the seat, I believe. Anyways, you get this height, windshield height. And especially with like something that flares at the top, it's going to pop the wind over you. Basically, you're trying to get rid of head buffeting and get the wind up over you. And so you want to style your bike a certain way. And so what's that? Just go ahead and say it.
Well, Clockworks does make a flare windshield for the 20 to 23 Indian Challenger and Pursuit.
There you go. So,
but you're correct. And
if you guys want to get
as many options,
we should, maybe think about carrying that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll probably add that to the store, guys, for you. So there are options. There's just not as many. And if you just get the right height windshield in the first place, then you never have to adjust it. And I'll get deeper in this. Yeah. This isn't a con. It's just something I'm looking for the why. Cause not every bike does it. And what's the why? So obviously limited windshields, just get the right windshield, dress your bike the way you want, and just be happy and pop the wind up over your head and never have to worry about adjusting it. So I'm riding down the road and I'm thinking, okay, I'm really trying to find pros for this. So in my mind, I'm like, I can see, okay, this is, if it's raining, Lurch, if it's raining really hard, somebody goes, now I need a little extra protection. I'm going to put my windshield up. Here's the problem with that. So here's the deal. I raise the windshield up. Guess what happens when you raise the Indian Pursuit windshield up?
Well, you got a vent
There's a
underneath it.
big ass round oval vent hole in it.
Yeah.
So now the rain's coming right up and the dash is curved up right in your face. So literally the rain will be coming through, hitting the dash, blasting you in the face. So that's a pro I tried to find. And I literally was trying to find pros. So that's gone. You're going to say something?
Well, I was just going to say that the reason I assume the reason that vent is there is for when you put the windshield up, you're probably going to get more buffeting, so that reduces the buffeting. But
with the windshield up, you should get less buffeting because you're going higher.
You've got more material hanging out there that's now hitting the wind.
Right.
So I would assume it's going to have more buffeting. The taller the windshield, the bigger the windshield, the more likely.
More head buffeting?
Not head buffeting of the
Thank you. Because I was talking head buffeting.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about buffeting of the bike, not necessarily head buffeting. Yeah, you should have less head buffeting because you got that up there. But now you've got this big cell sitting up in front of you.
Right.
So it's going to drag more wind. So I would imagine that's why that vent is in there, to let some of that wind through.
Or I wonder, my other thought, work with me on this. My other thought was, well, they put the vent in there because now that the windshield's up, you're not getting as much air in your face. And so
now you need some.
Yeah, maybe. But so that brings my next point.
Who knows?
Which a lot of guys I've heard, I came up with pros. I'm like, okay, I think I have heard this, but if it's hot, I want it down. And if it's cold, I want it up. But that would completely negate that, because if you put it up, now you have a vent with air coming through, and is any of this making sense? Like, this is my thought process. Like, unless you can come up with something. So here's the deal. It was hot. I put it up. I put it down. It made no freaking difference, dude. When it's 100,
yeah.
It's 100. That doesn't make any difference. I would rather have the adjustable wing vents. Like I said, the ones that I could adjust, that'll get more air to you. Anyways, guys, what I'm saying is, think about it. I think if anybody thinks about it legitimately, with those points, you're like, yeah, it doesn't have a lot of benefits, which again, I tried to think about it all. I want to get, we beat this horse, but anyways, unless you can think of anything else, or maybe you guys know something that I'm missing. Again, just get the right windshield, get the right height, pop it up over. You never have to worry about it. Never have to worry about adjusting your windshield. And again, it's not going to help you in rain or cold, because air is still coming through and rain's still coming through the big ass event. So again, anything, I really I want somebody to tell me that this is so, here's the situation that it's so amazing for, and I just couldn't figure it out.
I think it's a bit gimmicky, to be honest with you. Truly.
I didn't want to say it, but I'm glad you did. Well, and I'm sorry, Indian guys. Harley has bad stuff too.
And it's not the only bike that in the world that has this technology. Right. There's a lot of bikes out there that have adjustable windshields, especially a lot of the metric ones. There's probably some benefits to it. I just don't know if it's worth the cost
of not being able to get as many windshields or the extra
option.
Cost. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really hard sold one way or the other. Like you said, if Harley puts that on their bikes in the future, okay, I'll live with it. But if you get the right windshield, then you really don't need to have one that goes up and down. So I don't have strong feelings on it one way or the other.
Right.
I don't think it's
I don't have strong feelings. I was just trying to really, I want it to be cool. Yeah. Like I'm like, why are they putting this on here? This technology, what's purpose?
It's a gadget. It's a gadget, something to play with.
Right.
It's an option that, it sets them apart maybe from a Harley.
Right. Yeah, and it does. And like I said, some guys think that is so bee's knees, but whenever I ask somebody like nicely, like, what do you use it for? They can't. And they'll say things like that. Like, well, if it's raining, and I'll be like, but what about the big gaping hole in the thing in the rain? So here's the other thing. One last thing. We were coming down the canyon, second night, bug 30.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, I was really thinking, I was like, this is what it's for. So I started putting it up. There's the big gaping hole, and the bugs are straight up the dash in my face. So I'm like, well, I really tried that too, and I lost again. So I really can't find it, guys. If it didn't have that big gaping hole in it, I think it would be good for bug 30. You know what I mean?
Right.
Take the vent out of it, And now you got an argument, but as long as you put that big hole in it, every time you raise the big oval hole is right in your face.
Yeah, there's
rain, hail, sleet, bugs. It's right in your face.
I mean, obviously they put it there for a reason. My belief
it's got to be like you said,
for
aerodynamics.
Aerodynamics, 100%.
Yep, I agree. All right, so enough on that. Let's move on. We got that. Okay, so this, you'll see in my video, this was on when I took delivery of the bike. And this is basically it's a triangle orange with a exclamation point in the middle. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. I'm getting a bike loaned to me that's got a fault. And so we looked because we didn't want to ride if it was bad. And we want to be educated on it because it's going to be in every shot of the video because it never went off. Basically what we found is, interestingly, this is probably an Indian thing. And I know a lot of you have had this, if you're willing to admit it, that Indian has things that aren't great on it too. And that is, we found it's a chassis default. And thread's going all the way back to 2017, interestingly. And it's not just on the Pursuit. This is a problem Indians had for a long time. And it basically means either you have a brake or tail light out. We checked all that, or it's a default because when you have it in first gear and it's in gear and you drop the kickstand, it kills the bike. And for some reason, that's normal and it should. But because it does that, it throws some kind of default. And guys have been in and out of the shops and they try to reset the code and it'll eventually come back on if you do it again. Again, threads all the way back from Indian owners to 2017. So this is clearly an ongoing problem. It doesn't hurt the bike. It's just an annoying dash light that's on. And so something to be aware of with Indian. And I'm curious if any of our patron members have experienced this. If you have, put it in the private Facebook group or what you did about it. I'd be curious to read that. So gas cap's cool. Locking. You need to have a key fob with you, which is cool. So nobody can get in your gas cap. Mm-hmm. And there's another little button. As long as the key fob's with you, it'll allow you to unlock it. There's a little button on the right side below the storage compartment. Clicks it, opens it. Pretty cool there. So no real cap per se that comes off. Just open that and then lock it back down. Speaking of fuel, 6-gallon fuel tank. When I filled it and topped it off, I was showing 220 miles remaining, which makes a lot of sense considering this bike, most say, gets around 37 to 40 miles per gallon, depending on how you ride it. Let's get into the engine. This is one of the things I'm most excited about is this engine. So this is called the Power Plus Liquid Cooled 108 cubic inch engine. It's not the Thunderstroke coming in the 2023 Pursuit. This is a liquid cooled 108 CI engine. That's 1768 cc, 122 horsepower, 129 foot-pounds of torque at 3,800 RPM. And I played with that a lot and had a lot of time on it. If you're interested, so if you want to compare it to the new Milwaukee, coming on the 2023 CVOs is the Milwaukee 8 VVT 121. In comparison, it's 1970 cc's. But it's bigger cubic inch too, so that makes sense. Its torque is more at 139 foot-pounds, but its horsepower is a little less at 115. So those engines kind of neck and neck, both air-cooled, but you got variable valve timing in the new Hardy one. And
liquid-cooled.
Liquid-cooled, yeah, and liquid-cooled, sorry, yeah. So they're very comparable that way. Like I say, more torque on the Harley, a little more horsies on the Indian, the Power Plus there. But so here's what I found right away with this bike. I'm going to talk, I love the engine. I'll just tell you that up front. That motor is awesome in a lot of ways. It's got some drawbacks too, but when throttle blipping it, it literally will lift the front tire just slightly off the ground. You really feel it. I mean, it is so fun. Lurch saw me day one.
Oh, yeah.
Just throttle blipping like 15 times in a row and just bouncing the front end.
Yeah, we're out in the middle in Eastern Washington on some back state routes and no traffic around us. So we took full advantage of having no traffic and played around. And it's fun to watch you get that front tire off the ground.
Yeah. And so just with throttle blips, you can do that. Of course, then I was able to do just a clutch wheelie and really bring the front end off the ground. This now, mind you, this is a full-size touring bike with that much power. And so it was fun to clutch wheelie it and stuff. Definitely what I found, 3,800 RPM is definitely where it's at. It's very, very noticeable. That motor just really, it's already fun, but it really comes alive at 3,800 RPM. Plenty of passing power. We pass lots of cars, shift down, roll that throttle. You're going to have a smile ear to ear. Very amazing for a bagger. Here's what I found. This is one of the things that shocked me about this, because I thought, in my mind, I thought that this motor, the new Power Plus, was going to be like I thought the bike was going to feel more metric.
Oh,
if that makes sense. More
less feedback,
somewhere in between Harley and Goldwing.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, like less feedback. Like I thought it would be
no vibrations, really smooth.
Yeah. I was like, holy shit. Now, what I want to preface this by, I'm not talking that this is a con. I want you to be aware, the new Harley CVO with VVT is smoother. This Indian Pursuit, they didn't worry about vibrations. They didn't take a lot out.
Sometimes in the design process, they want you to have some of that, so you have that feel, of a big V twin. So I would guess they probably left it in on purpose.
They did, but like
just
Harley
had more than you thought it would.
Right, yeah. Exactly. That's the point being, is I just thought for some reason it was going to be like this. I thought I would be disappointed they didn't have enough. This is substantial. So if you guys think an Indian's all perfectly, smooth like a metric, like you would think, it's not with this engine, not with this Power Plus liquid cooled. I thought it would be more subdued, but you definitely feel vibrations, especially when you get up in that 3,800 plus. Holy cow, that bike, you'll feel vibrations in the grips, the seat, the floorboards. It literally, when I get it up over 4,000, the floorboards, it tickled the bottoms of my feet. They literally vibrated them so much I was laughing. So if you're on that, guys, feel that. It's a lot of feedback. Again, something to note. It's not bad. Is it unrideable? No, it's just, wow. You should ride it and feel it to see if that works for you. It was fine for me, but it was a lot. And very impressed with the throttle response. Even from idle, man, you snap that throttle, it comes alive. Everything was amazing. I was smiling ear to ear. Again, the only reason I bring up the vibrations is just a lot of people like me maybe think you're going to get on an Indian, it's going to be all perfectly smooth. It's not. It definitely has plenty of feedback. So feel it, test ride it, see if you like that much, or if you want less. That's going to be a personal preference thing for a lot of guys. All right, here's something, and I'm curious now because I didn't watch any of the reviews like I said up front. I didn't want to be tainted, so to speak. So I'm curious now to do some research if anybody else is being honest about this. Although I love this motor and everything about it, and I smiled and I had fun and I can't recommend it enough, this is the one reason I can't recommend it. I guess I can still recommend it. I wouldn't say I don't recommend it. I will say this is something you need to be aware of. I became aware of it within 10 minutes, day one, riding this bike. I thought, and I was surprised and taken back by it, because I'm thinking Power Plus, liquid cooled. This is going to be a really cool running motor. Wow. Within 10 minutes. And during our testing, and again, I didn't just ride it on this weekend trip, because I've been riding it every chance I get since, and I've had it going on 3 weeks now. Especially if you're below 50, guys, the amount of heat. I want to talk to other Indian Pursuit owners and see if they're going to be honest about this. I checked that the engine was running temps and it was fine. So this engine was running good. It's liquid cooled. The amount of heat that comes off this motor is a lot more than I expected. To the point that it gets just a little bit uncomfortable on the inside of my shoes and heels. I know there's a lot going on down there. You've got the radiator, you've got the fan, you've got cats in the pipes, you've got the primary, the transmission. I don't know if it's the way the heat is being, but the fans weren't always running, so I don't know if it's the way the heat's being directed. I don't know, guys. All I can tell you, and even stopping at gas stops and turning the motor off, there is a substantial amount of heat that comes off this motor, more than I would have expected. Is it unrideable? Of course not. I don't want anybody to think that. I just want to say it's got a lot of heat. It's something I noticed. I hope that in future iterations, Indian can tweak that a little bit and maybe think about how to redirect some of that heat, maybe make the fans blow down below and again, I don't know if it was the fans. Obviously, this bike stock, if you remove cats, you're going to dissipate some heat, but the cats aren't on both sides, and it was my left and right. So, again, I don't exactly know. I just want, and I'm curious in the private Facebook group, if you guys, or you can reach out to us, lawabidingbiker.com/contact. Email us, voicemail us, tell us what you did. Number one, be honest and tell me whether you really felt the heat issue. It's more, and I rode a Challenger in the past with a Thunderstroke, and it's an air cooled. It did not have that. This does have lowers, but even with the vents open, it didn't matter. Once you get, 70 on the freeway, it goes away somewhat because you've got plenty of air flowing, but man, in town, even on the inside of your legs, it's a substantial amount of heat. So I'm hoping that Indian, or maybe there's solutions, and maybe some of you, please contact us. Let us know what you did and how to get rid of some of that heat. Lurch,
did you find it a little bit more so on your right foot?
No.
Okay, I'm just looking through some Indian.
Are you? Okay, interesting. Good job.
And it is definitely an issue with this new pursuit. And
okay,
most people are saying
other guys are being honest. Then.
Yeah, they're saying they feel a little bit more on the right side, which could make sense because that's where the exhaust and all that's coming through.
Thanks for looking that up. Because now I can actually, I'm curious if
I haven't watched any videos.
How honest guys are being, or even in threads.
Yeah, but just some threads. Yeah. So it is a concern.
Okay. Well, good to know. So I'm not completely out of my gourd because I was
you might be, but
that's true. In other ways, I was right on this.
Yeah.
So definitely that's my probably my biggest complaint overall about the bike is the amount of heat that comes off that motor. So moving on, 6-speed transmission. I will say the transmission, although there's a lot of feedback and vibration on this bike, the transmission itself, not a lot of tactile feedback when you shift and not a lot of audible feedback when shifting. Did I have any issues with it? Absolutely not. Didn't matter. I know what gear, there's still plenty there, but you're not getting a huge amount of clunk or anything where
And Rick, I was talking to him before the review, and I didn't share this with you because I did not want to taint you either, but he just said coming from Harley's.
You didn't want to do what to my taint?
I didn't want to taint your taint. Rick was curious if you would have the same feeling, and you did. When you come from a Harley where you're used to a little more tactile feeling when you're shifting and the clunk sound, you've shifted. With this one's very smooth, and sometimes you're not even sure if you switched to gear because it was so smooth. Is that a bad thing? No, it's probably a good thing. The transmission was really smooth.
Right.
It's just different.
Yeah.
And so you had noticed the same thing too. When you come up to a stop, you find yourself checking to make sure you're in first gear a little more than you would a Harley because you've heard it go clunk. It goes into gear. So I would say that in theory, a smoother transmission is a better thing. Yep. It's just something to notice. If you're used to riding the Harleys and hearing that transmission clunk as you go between gears, you're not going to hear it with the Indian.
Yep, true. And with that said, getting into neutral, fairly easy. So
Harley's
that's nice.
Can be tricky.
Yeah, well, not anymore. That new, they put a new
that's right.
drum on there on the new CVOs, and it's amazing. It's as good as the Indian.
Much better. Good.
So yeah, good now, guys, on that. I will say, while we're talking about transmission and engine, the one thing also I noticed is engine compression lacking. Yeah. So what I mean by that, guys, is I immediately noticed, like, I was riding corners aggressive. I use the engine braking a lot more than the brakes themselves, especially I'll be coming up to a corner, I'll aggressively shift down to dump speed before I set into the corner, especially if I'm dragging floorboards. And first thing you'll notice with this motor and transmission is the engine braking. It is very much less than what I'm used to on a Harley. So what I mean is you shift down really aggressively. It takes quite a bit for it. Like if you have high compression, it'll jar you, which is good, to the point where it locks the back wheel up if you don't have drag slip torque control. And I'm kind of used to that. Like all of a sudden you shift down, and all of a sudden you're going forward on your handlebars like it's there, like it's a brake. Right. This is not like that. And it actually takes a little bit before it kicks in, it seems like. And honestly, this engine does have less compression than the new CVO motor. I did look that up, but I don't know if it's a combination of the way the clutch is set up and all that it's supposed to, just be aware of it. So you have to learn to ride this bike a little different, aggressively. You'll want to shift down long before. I can shift down last second with my Harley and still
with the twin cam.
Yeah. or even with the new ones.
Do you fill it with the CVOs too when you rode them?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, there's plenty of compression there. Braking, I didn't notice much different because it's the Milwaukee 8. It's just a VVT. No, there's plenty. It was definitely just this motor and this transmission setup. So you just have to shift down earlier and give yourself time for the compression to kick in. You won't be able to do it last second. It's not as jarring. Yeah, just something I noted, and it definitely feels different than obviously a Hardy motor, they're two different companies. So real quick, cruise control stock has heated grip stock.
Nice.
Yeah. And one of the things I really liked, and then we're going to get into suspension. I love the key fob, and the electric locks are very nice. The trunk's electric lock, the saddlebags, it's so nice when Lurch and I would stop. And I just think this should be stock on Harleys too now. Although there's some drawbacks we found, which we'll talk about. It is nice to have electric locks if they're done right. Just because every time I go downtown right now, a lot of times, honestly, I don't lock anything on my Harley because it's too time consuming. I run into the store, Indian, I walk away. Just like my truck, I push the key fob. I know that it's all locked and all my stuff's safe. That's
nice.
It is nice. And it honestly, obviously the CVOs have that with Harley, but I just feel like that's something that Harley needs to put stock on all bikes now, if they can do it right. We're going to get into some of the things that we didn't like about that system. It could be done a little bit better, but I do want to praise them for having, the electronic locking saddlebags and stuff. So the other thing I threw on my bike, Lurch, which we didn't mention, I forgot about this, but I took it off my Harley and I threw it right on my Indian before this trip because I could not leave home without this.
And that is a butt buffer. Ride longer and treat your ass with some respect already. Get hooked up with a premium butt buffer seat cushion. This company of bikers developed a super thin, hospital-grade seat cushion made of solid and elastic materials. And it's unlike gel pads that will leak if punctured.
Rub my ass.
The butt buffer is designed not to slide around on your seat, fits all motorcycles, installs in seconds, easily cleans, and helps to dampen those damn vibrations. With plenty of miles to choose from, they assure you'll have a comfortable ass when riding. Head on over to Law Abiding Biker Store and check out our lineup of butt buffer seat cushions.
Oh, my ass. When I do it, you just get louder. You just try to talk over me, dude. That's all you see. You can't hear it, but you did almost break a couple times.
Yeah, I got close.
You did get close. Oh, this is cold. All right. So we're going to get into suspension now. We've been there. Just bear with me. All right, suspension. So we got the premium package. This doesn't come stock. You're going to have to bump it up, and we'll talk about packages in a little bit. But so Dark Horse premium package, we had electronically controlled rear suspension through the ride command system.
That's pretty cool.
It was cool. Props to Indian on this. Love it. You can set the preload, your weight of the rider and passenger. And then if you're riding by your luggage, if you're riding by yourself, bam, you set it right there. You're done. You throw a passenger on, it's one switch. It worked seamlessly, was really intuitive, easy to use. So that's just the rear. The front, your 43 millimeter inverted forks with 5.1 inches of travel. Nice inverted forks. I felt the front was really controlled even during emergency braking techniques and even on, hitting potholes and stuff. I really like the feel of the front suspension, so props there. Rear suspension, again, ours are electronically controlled because premium package, Fox single shock with electronically controlled hydraulic adjustment. If you don't have the premium package, you have to manually adjust them. 4.5 inches of travel on those rear ones. When we got back, Lurch wasn't with me, but I took it out a day. I took it in some of our famous alleys that we took a Wilbur suspension video on. And I have to say, just in the interest of time, I tested this suspension and bottomed it out. And I will tell you, well done, Indian. For stock suspension, well done. That's all I'm going to say. Would you want to get aftermarket? Aftermarket's always going to be better. I have rarely found stock suspension that good. So there you go. Props, one up on Indian for that for sure. 3 ride modes, traction control. You can turn it off. However, one thing that pisses me off, but Hardy's doing the same, and I think it's some kind of safety issue or liability issue, but
liability more than likely.
Every time you turn traction control off on the infotainment system, you turn the bike off, come back out, you have to return it back off. It automatically always goes back on. But whatever, that seems to be the way manufacturers are going. But it does have 3 ride modes: Sport, Standard, and Rain. I rode in Sport the entire time. I, of course, tested the other modes, but Sport's where it's at for me, so I can do all those clutch wheelies and stuff. And we did test it in the gravel. This is what I found on the Challenger back in the day, too, and it holds true. Indians kind of kept their traction control system the same. Like Harley, when you put it in like rain mode, like you can floor it on gravel, and the back tire will spin for like a split second and then it won't. And it really, really subdues the power. Indian, for whatever reason, has more aggressive, or I should say it's not as aggressive on removing power to the rear wheel. So even though traction control is on in sport mode, you're still going to fishtail. You could still fishtail and wash the bike out from underneath you. It takes a bit to kick in, and again, it just doesn't subdue it as quick. Standard is a little better. Of course, rain mode really subdues the power, but even when in rain mode on the Indian, you can still peel out for a little while and still wash a little bit. So again, not pro or con, something to test, something to be aware of. Still allows a lot of spinning of that rear wheel. So here's where we're going to dive into what we talked about. We love the key fob. We love the electronic things, but here's some things. And Lurch got to spend a lot of time around this bike, opening, closing, seeing it. He was reviewing it with me, so he noticed some of these things too. Do you want to talk about some of this?
Yeah, the latch systems that are on there, so they are locking, which is nice. But unlike a manual, like a Harley Davidson one where you had to, close the lever and you can feel it latch around the catch, this is more like a trunk latch in a car, both in the trunk and the saddlebag. So they're a little bit clunky, and when you close them, in order to get them closed, you almost have to slam them. Well, you do.
You do have to slam them.
You have to slam them closed like you would a car door. And that got us one time because we thought they were closed, and we were riding down the road, and one of your riding jackets flew out, your lightweight jacket, and I was not quick enough to catch it, and we had just passed a car. Unfortunately, that car caught up to us and ran it over and put a couple nice little holes in your jacket. But it's just something to be aware of. When you close these, you're going to want to slam them to make sure that they close.
And even once they're the saddlebags, just to throw on that, we noticed this, Lurch, and you can touch up on this, but even though, and every time I did it, like I would close the saddlebag and then I would lift up on it to make sure it's locked. There's a lot of play.
There is.
Right?
And that
you're not sure if it's closed.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's in the seal, because it's a new bike, maybe the seals are still pretty soft and pliable and you're able to kind of move the lid up and down, but there's a little bit of wiggle there and it's kind of hard to tell. You really got to give it a good pull. And what we got used to doing was slamming it and then hitting the locks. Make sure it was locked. Just get that added security in there.
I'm used to, I've ridden that bike so much now, it's habit for me.
Yeah.
I will not ride that bike without those locked because you just don't know.
That's just something to be aware of. In the 13 and older Harley saddlebags are notorious for popping and coming loose too, and they changed their design in 14. So it's not just unique to this bike, but we have seen it happen on a couple of our other Indian friends or Indian riders. That thing pop open. So just be aware. Slam it. It needs to be closed hard, and then make sure you get it locked. Another thing that was kind of I don't know if it's good, bad, or indifferent, but I
think it'd be redesigned.
What's that?
I think what you're going to say. Oh, that's what I think.
Okay, the trunk.
Oh no, sorry, you were going somewhere else. Go.
Yeah, with the trunk, it's kind of strange. It moves. It hinges forward like a car trunk, so a little different. It's not. I guess there's the benefit of it is it folds forward, doesn't hang out to the side. So when we've got several of the Harleys with trunks parked next to each other, you've got these trunks open and people are loading. You got to walk around their trunk lid that's hanging way out to the side. So that in that aspect, it's nice that it goes forward. But the problem is if you have a rider on it and you're trying to get in it,
I did,
or you have a backpack and you're trying to get into it, it makes it really difficult to open. So again, I don't know. Your
passenger has to get off.
Oh yeah, passenger can't be.
And backpack has to be unbungeed and lead forward.
Yeah,
and you can't set your helmet there. I a lot of times set my helmet on the passenger seat, and then I was like, shit, I got to get in the trunk. I got to move my helmet.
That's true. So I can set mine on the back and not have to worry about it falling off. So interesting. Again, I don't know if it's good, bad, or different.
I think that
I prefer off to the side.
I prefer off to the side now that I've experienced both. Again, it's not a deal breaker. You may love that. We're just telling you, be aware of it. If you're going to buy, this is how you get to choose bikes. What works for you?
Yeah, and it could you even get a helmet in that trunk?
Yeah, I did the other day at the store. I locked my helmet in it. Yep.
Perfect, good.
One.
Yeah, one.
Right.
Yeah, with the shape of a Harley tour pack, you can actually get 2 helmets in there.
Talk about you skipped one thing, and that's the way the design of the saddlebag. The lids are wasted space.
Yeah, they are. They're the supports and stuff that are in there. It's just the design of it. You can overfill a Harley saddlebag a little bit and still get the lid closed, where with the Indian you can't. It's right at the top. There's all you can put in. And also the design of it.
Well, the reason
doesn't
is
have as many hard angles on it, and it's kind of a little bit more flex in the Indian lid.
Well, I think I'll jog your memory on this too. The reason, so in a Harley, you can overfill because the lid is concaved. And so there's a lot of space up in the lid that you can over the top of your saddlebag. The reason on the Indian you can't do that, I learned this really quick, is because of the electric lock mechanism. It's huge.
Yeah.
And so the reason you can't fill, so although the saddlebag should have plenty of room, there are a lot less room than the Harley ones. And that's the reason. So you have this big square thing. It's all your latching mechanism. This is one of the things, electric locks are cool, but if they're not designed completely, so
they take up space.
Yeah. So it takes up a huge amount of space, and they're very finicky because it's already hard to get these closed. So I literally just put a jacket that was a little bit higher. I wasn't even thinking, I was packing for the trip. And I'm like, why won't this saddlebag close? My God. I mean, I barely have it over the top lip. Then I found out if you have anything over the top of the saddlebag, you won't be able to get it latched. It's very finicky. So you're losing all your lid space. And this is what I say. I love the electric locks. I love it. I just think that I'm hoping in future iterations, again, this isn't a pro or con. It's my wishes. Hope in the future, Indian can maybe think of a new latching system, put it in the rear or somewhere where it's out of the way. Don't lose all the lid space, and make the latches a little more robust. So there's a little less play. They lock down a little better. But other than that, I still loved it. And I still love the electronic locking system. But just know you're losing all that lid space on an Indian when you have those mechanisms right there. All right. Anything else on the trunk and saddlebags? This was really nice. And I did this. You'll see it in the video. I did it up in some shots up by the river. But the trunk removal, hey, props to Indian on this. Harley needs to take note of this. This bike come in stock with a trunk, of course, but Indian made it removable stock. So it's got docking hardware already on the bike, and literally in less than, I'd say 45 seconds, it's got 2 really nice hand levers. You pop them. There's 2 quick release plugs. That trunk is off your bike, and you can put it on just as quick. So when you're running around town, you don't want a trunk. It's very, very nice. So with that said, I was thinking to myself, there's pros and cons to everything. And as far as I know, Hardy doesn't make it. It's all aftermarket kits to removable trunks. Yeah.
On the Ultras.
On the Ultras. So I just think that would be really cool. I thought it was a very nice feature. It would make me more want to get a Ultra, maybe, if stuff removed that quick and that easy stock. Just something to think about. But then I started thinking, is there any cons to this? And I'm thinking, well, there kind of is. What about theft? So that trunk comes off there in 45 seconds or less if you got good at it. And now somebody can just literally, if they know about Indians, can walk away with my trunk in 30 seconds. So,
and same thing with my Road Glide. I put a detachable trunk on it, and you can get
I agree.
locked.
I'm just talking about the Hardy Ultras. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
But yes, if you put aftermarket like you, and I get it. But my question would be, and if you guys know, email us.
Locks for it.
Email us and just let us know if there is a locking. I would hope that they would make a locking system for that, because I would definitely get it, guys. If you're leaving anything of value, if anybody knows about Indians, they're going to be able to walk off with your trunk. So let's move on to lighting. We did ride at night after dinner one night, and very good. Coming with LED headlight. We have the premium package, so it's also coming with 2 lower LED lights in the fairings, and you can turn them on or off. They definitely add a good amount of light to the front and out to the side. So let's talk pricing. Now we had the Dark Horse, and basically that's starting at $32K base price. We have the premium package that bumps it up to $35K. So for that extra $3,000, you're getting a 2-up heated seat. You're getting adjustable passenger floorboards. You're getting adjustable suspension, electronic, lower fairing compartment. and integrated lower LED lights, which I just mentioned, and you're getting smart lean technology, which basically smart lean technology is the bike sensing lean angle to adjust traction control and ABS. I think it's definitely worth it to get the premium package. Why would you not want, just for safety alone, smart lean technology? Interesting thing is, I never tested Lurch, and I don't believe it has hill assist. The Indian, I'm almost positive.
Not that I'm aware of.
No, it didn't, because I was on hills and it never kicked in. So just be aware of that. But yeah, that's their, rider safety enhancement stuff. So for $3,000, I would definitely, 2-up heated seat, that's nice. The adjustable suspension, if you can swing it, $3,000 for all that stuff, I think it's a must. You got to have that if you can swing it. So the Indian Pursuit Limited is basically the chrome version. It's not the Dark Horse, same bike, chrome version. It comes in $1,000 less base price at $31,000. Of course, if you have the premium package, I believe that bumps it to $34,000 for the extra $3,000. So about $1,000 less for the chrome version. And then you got the Indian Pursuit Elite coming in at $40,000. It's brawn chrome finishes. It has a few additional items like 5-spoke precision cut wheels, select floorboards, smart lean technology, electronic adjustable rear. So never mind, it's just coming with some of the same stuff, but I just think it's the finish and the bronze chrome and finish. Oh, it's got an adaptive LED headlight, LED saddlebag light. So it's like the CVO. They're limited, or Elite is like their CVO. Yeah. Premium heated seat, integrated driving lights, lower fairings, backlit switch cubes. So it's got some extra little touches, but you'll pay another $6,000 for the Elite. So there you go. Let's talk, unless you have something, Lurch.
Nope, not yet.
Okay. So let's talk cornering. I got to work the corners along the lake. Lurch had a good route kind of designed for us there to make sure I got a lot of corners in. I had a ball. So here's what I'll say about cornering. And I was cornering aggressively, really pushing the bike, once I got used to it to kind of figure out where everything is. I will say that it drags really easy. The floorboards, it's only got a 31-degree lean angle, which is less than a Harley by a degree, but it definitely makes a lot. Not only it's the degree, but basically what drags first is the rear of the floorboards. And I was in the floorboards a lot, like quickly. Again, not a pro or con. It's a touring bike. We need to remember what it's made for. And when you're riding aggressively, you just need to be aware of how tight you can corner and how aggressively and how quick you're going to get into your floorboards, because you don't want to get too deep or you're going to frame out at some point. That's a good marker when you start to get into your floorboards. That's where you kind of the limit and back off from there. But I was dragging the rear of the floorboards. The transitions are really nice. And what I mean by that, going a left corner and then a real quick switch back, windy to a left corner to a right corner. The bike, for as big as it is for a touring bike, I was really happy with how nimble it was. I was able to throw it around side to side. Not a ton of effort that I had to throw in. No wobble when transitioning. So really nice to transition from one side to the other and scoot my butt over and go into the next corner. As far as the long sweepers, I was really impressed. On the freeway at higher speeds, those really long sweeping corners that we know sometimes, depending on the road, you can get some wobble on a lot of different bikes. That's just normal, especially when you're pushing it. But this did really, really well. Even at high speeds, I felt very little, if any, and I was really trying to find it. It's solid.
Yes, you were. That would be the Vantage grade.
That's the one.
Pulling the Vantage grade. I'm like, oh, I know what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And on my bike, I've got a 2015 Road Glide Special. I did feel a little bit that wobble in some of those corners there.
Yep. Yeah. Especially that one coming down the hill before the Vanna Bridge going westbound. That's the one you'll get wobbling a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah. You were able to go through
Ciro.
that one. You went through that one quite a bit quicker than I did.
I did 72 miles an hour. Exactly. Anyways, it did really good. I was really impressed. Good package with the way they have the rake trail wheel size and wheelbase, leaves no wobble in the front or rear. So well done there, Indian. Felt really good for a touring bike, and you just got to learn and know its limitations as far as when you're touring. And just something to note, you're going to get in those floorboards quick if you're aggressively riding corners. Here's one con that I found that I want to throw out there: lack of rider backrest. This is definitely a con to me that Indian's got to try to fix this. There's no slit. So it's a 2-up heated seat and it's stock. Comes with a premium package, no slit in it to put a rider backrest. That's a must. Absolutely, for me, necessity. for a touring bike. Why a touring bike? Now, does Harley come with them? No, but they have slits in the seat and you can buy them. They're set up for it. Indian needs to fix that. Why a touring bike would not come readily available, at least to purchase, or a slit in the seat, especially the stock seat. What it did is it put me in a bad riding position. I had my backpack up there, and because I couldn't lean back and rest my back, I had to lean against my backpack, which put me too far back. And so I had to reach out. I basically could touch the handlebars with like 2 fingers. And I toured that way on the freeway a lot just because I needed to lean back. That's not ideal. Absolutely. If you guys know, hit us up. I'm sure, hopefully there's aftermarket options, but you're getting a premium package with a 2-up heated seat. You kind of want to keep that because the seat's not bad. It's got good it curves up nice. It's got fair back support for just the stock seat, even though there's no backrest, but what else can I say? It's a touring bike. It needs a backrest, guys. It needs at least the ability for me to readily purchase a backrest right away and put it in there. So not sure why Indian would make that decision, but that's something to be aware of, guys. If you're going to long distance tour, you're going to have to figure out something to get a rider backrest on that bike. All right. We're doing good, guys. It's got a lot of information here, so bear with me. Hopefully this is really helpful if you've ever wondered or thought this pursuit, something you want to get. So there we go. I'm scrolling down here. We're done with quartering. Exhaust 2 into 1 into 2 out each side. All I'm going to tell you, for stock and within EPA guidelines, the bike actually sounds pretty good. Stock.
Absolutely.
I'm okay. I would still pipe it out, but stock, good for stock. So here's one thing you won't see in a lot of reviews. I actually took this bike out. How does it handle? Most of what riding we do is obviously low speed and technical in town, except when you're touring. Where guys look bad and where guys get hurt mostly is this kind of riding. So I took it out on our police course. Of course, we do a lot of technical low speed drills, really how to own your bike, basically. And so I took it out on the course. I really wanted to find out what this bike was around or what it's about for, this type of work, and would it make a good police bike and stuff like that. So here's what I learned. Got a cable clutch. Definitely has a wider friction zone. But all bikes have different friction zones. This is just really wide, and it is cable. And all I'm going to say about that, just in the interest of time, is Indian and Harley the same. Stop. These are 2023 premium, expensive motorcycles, and you're using old cable clutch technology. Stop. These bikes absolutely 100% should all be hydraulic. Hydraulic, you don't have to mess with. They last the life. The pull's always the same. It's an easier pull for the most part once you get past the certain to hold in. Everything about a hydraulic clutch is better. And again, you never have to adjust them. Literally, while I had this Indian on loan, I was so frustrated. I was like, this is so stupid. This is so old. And Harley went back to cable too. And I talked mass smack to Harley about that. Stop. Go back to hydraulic, guys. That's what we want. All right. This is why I went out on the course instantly. I had to go bring the bike all the way back home, and I had to adjust the clutch because it's all the way out. And that happens with cable clutches. As the plates wear, the cable gets tight, and now you can't clutch in, and the clutch is too far out on the handle. And I had to get wrenches out and adjust this damn thing. And luckily they did make it easy. As far as getting access to it, it's right underneath the left side underneath. There's, the nuts that you can do, and it's a typical any cable clutch throttle system, but it's unnecessary, and I shouldn't have had to do it. And had it been hydraulic, it would have just adjusted itself. So please stop with the cable clutch. So there you go. God, I get so frustrated because these are it's like buying could you imagine buying a brand new, let's just say you bought a brand new BMW and they're like, premium car. Oh, but the throttle on the throttle pedal, it's cable. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, how is that acceptable? How do these companies think that's acceptable?
I'm just laughing because you get on a rampage about that.
I know. And I'm still on my rampage. See, like I would be could you imagine that? Like, that's really what I relate it to. Like you get a premium car and they're like, oh yeah, but we put a cable throttle on it. Are you freaking kidding me? No. All right. So, I will say this. And on the Indian, same with the Harley, but the Harley kicks in way later. So when you're doing these low speed drills, there's a lot of different clutch, brake, balance, throttle, all that kind of stuff in combination, bar locks to get these bikes leaned over. They've got safety systems built in. Indians kicks in really quick. You have to really, really monitor how much you're on the rear brake. If you get on it just a little bit too much, it immediately starts pulsating the brake, and basically the bike's trying to stand you up, and because it thinks you're going down. And so that's something to be aware of. It's not ideal for low speed maneuvering. And so I found out that right away. I can get my Harley a lot more. It'll still do it, but it gives me a lot more grace. This, man, it is so touchy. And so I was doing bar lock, dragging floorboards. Man, if you just put just a little too much, boom, 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 pulsate, it's trying to stand you up. You can't brake anymore. I just wish Harley, same, just give us the ability to turn these systems off. I can outride these bikes. And it frustrates me that I have to not ride them as aggressively as I want to because of their built-in systems. I get why you have them, and for average riders, it's perfect. But when you're pushing these bikes to the limit and you're doing the kind of riding we do, I just want to be able to turn that system off. I don't want the bike to just let me go down if you think I'm going down. I'm not, but it thinks I am. So I did notice that. So just be aware of it. Here's something I found. This is very interesting, and I wasn't aware because I didn't check the specs on this bike. I just figured I'll go and I'll try to do a keyhole. And now my Harley street glides or road glides, we can do down to 18-foot keyholes. That's a really tight keyhole, and you'll be dragging floorboards in and out of that thing. I tried getting in there with the Indian, and I didn't even think about it. I was like, Lurch wasn't with me. I was on my own. I spent a lot of hours down at the course. And I immediately blew out patterns. I was like, what is going on? And so you start blaming yourself.
Right. What am I doing wrong here?
What am I rusty? I'm like, I do this shit every day. Here's what I found after lots and lots. I adjusted patterns. I adjusted this. Here's the deal. And then I learned some things. You learned
yourself a thing or two.
I did. So the Indian, the tightest that I could get it on, is a 20-foot keyhole, 2 feet wider than what a Harley can do it at. And I was pushing hard and really trying to get this bike through a 19. I think I did once, but that's not, because I still think I nailed one cone coming out. 20's it. And even at 20, you're in and you're dragging floorboards, and you have to hit the pattern. You have to hit different marks for the Indian. So I went home and I was like, why is this? There's something different designed about this bike that it takes 2 feet more to turn on low speed stuff. So here's what I learned. The Indian has 1.5 inch longer wheelbase. That right there,
that'll do it.
Makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. I should have looked this up before, but I didn't. It has 1 degree less lean angle, and the front wheel is 2 inches taller. So with all that, it doesn't seem in your head like a lot, but in the real world, when you get it out there, that means a 2 foot difference when you're doing a keyhole turn. Basically, that's a complete bar lock. If you do 360 turn, it's going to take 2 feet more on the Indian. So it definitely can't work as tight as a Harley. Could it be a police bike, the Indian Pursuit? They don't make a police package, but if they did, I would need it longer term. I'd have to put it through day-to-day abuse. I'd have to put it through a new motor school. How many times can this thing be put down? How long will the clutch last? Is it as robust as a Harley? How about the heat issue, which we talked about? And you literally would have to change your course and make everything like 2 feet wider because it can't get through it. So just something to think about. So I don't know if it'd make a good police bike. I definitely would want the Harley because I can turn 2 feet, and I need to do that in alleys and stuff. That Indian couldn't turn in some of the alleys that I turn in. So just something to be aware of. Stereo system, stock stereo system. It's 200 watt audio system, AM, FM, Bluetooth, all that. I found it here's for stock. I'm just going to say I found it really good. It's got good mids. It's got good highs. What you expect for a motorcycle, not a lot of bass, which you don't want because you can't hear most motorcycle systems are different than car systems. We've talked about in the past, guys, because they want you to be here at 80 on the freeway. What I found, very clean, even at full volume, with a full face helmet on, no distortion at full volume, and even at 70 plus on freeway with a full face helmet, I could hear the music out of the speakers. So I'm just going to say, well done. well done stock system. Would you want aftermarket? Depends how much you like your music and sound. I probably would, but for stock, I was actually very, very impressed. So let's do this and then we will finish up, guys. We're getting there, but hopefully this is really useful information for you.
Are you searching for the easiest and quickest detachable luggage system for your motorcycle? Rick Rack has just what you're looking for. Forget all those frustrating straps and bungee cords that come loose and slap your paint. Check out one of Rick Rack's awesome quick attach strapless luggage rack systems. This father and son team designed something really special you can't find anywhere else. Yep, these guys ride, so they truly understand the needs of bikers. The Rick Rack quick attach system is strong, durable, and securable with a lockable system. Also, check out their full line of touring bags to accompany your quick detached system. Once you use a Rick Rack, you'll never go back. What are you waiting for, bikeaholics? Head on over to Law Abiding Biker Store and check out our full line of Rick Rack systems and bags. lawabidingbiker.com/store.
There you go, guys. The old Rick Rack. And actually this week I sold 2 Rick Racks for Indians for on top of the trunk.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so we've got those in the store for you too, for the Indian guys. Speaking of Indians, all right. So other ride command issues. Here's some other ride command issues. This system overall glitchy, guys, just is. That's life. Apple CarPlay. Even I've had it out this week and it's pissing me off. Apple CarPlay not activating all the time. You've got to either power the bike off, power it back on, unplug, plug your iPhone. Sometimes it takes up to 3 minutes to even connect for Apple CarPlay to come up on the system. It's just buggy. It sucks. That's definitely not Apple CarPlay. That's the system. That's the integrated system because Apple CarPlay works perfect in other vehicles I do. It comes right up like my truck, like within a second. Changing audio, the system somehow decided this week while I was riding down the road, yeah, you're done listening to music out of your headset or out of the speakers, Ryan, you're going to the headset. And it just changed to my headset. And I had to go back in and manually set it to come back out of the speakers because I'm in town. I will say it's very clunky to change the headset speaker when you're in CarPlay. You've basically got to go into CarPlay. You got to hit the Ride Command app, get out of CarPlay, go in, go to your settings, and then change it from headset back to speakers. Just clunky. And that's all I'm going to say about it. There are other glitches I found, like some menus covering the header menu, covering some other stuff. And then you got to go back in, and then it cleans it up. It's not, here's what I'll say. Car manufacturers, motorcycle manufacturers, stop trying to be software companies. They're all trying to make their own operating systems. They're not doing a good job at it. Make cars, let somebody like Apple, which I don't think Apple does, but they do shitty job. All you guys know in your automobiles, they're not great. You use your iPhone, it's so smooth, and you swipe through things. You get on these car systems, and it's more. You got to drill down to menus. It's more PC-ish.
Yeah.
It's not thought out. The UIs suck. That's why most of us hook up Apple CarPlay and just disregard but you do have to use it for some settings, the internal system. Anyways. It's not exclusive to Indian. The boombox has just as many issues in different ways. CarPlay coming up, same thing with the boombox. Sometimes I have to unplug it, plug it back in. So I'm not just dogging the Ride Command, guys. But the Ride Command is by far a premium system. It's got a long ways to go, and auto manufacturers too. So brakes. Really appreciate that on the front, they're radial mounted instead of axial. That just means better performance if you don't know exactly what that is. Front brakes, dual 320 millimeter semi-floating rotor, 4-piston radial caliper. Rear single 298 millimeter floating rotor, 2-piston caliber. Braking, awesome on this bike, amazing. Controlled with the suspension in combination. Emergency braking was awesome. Very well done on the braking system for stock. You're going to be happy with that. Tires, rear tires front, or the front tires, Metzler Cruise Tech 130s they're using. 19-inch front wheel, 19-inch French wheel, the rear Metzler Cruise Tech 180, 16-inch rear wheel. I will say, as far as the Metzlers, they seem fine. Bike's got a lot of power, and I already said I like this motor. With traction control on, it will still spin a little bit, and when you take off from an intersection, if you want, you can peel out. And so the tires did peel out, but they handled it well. And I think that's just a lot of the torque behind that motor is why they peeled out. So height, if you're interested in this bike, 5.41 5.4 inches. Ground clearance, the seat height, 26.5. The weight, 882 pounds running order. If you're curious in comparison, but I'm not going to do that because I don't know if I did the Road Glide or the Street Glide, and they're different. So I want to be careful with that weight. I was going to compare it to a Harley, but I might have did a Street Glide weight. So anyways, 882 for the, I think my producer over here is looking it up, Road Glide. Do a CVO Road Glide and see what the weight is. Is that what you're doing?
I was looking up an Ultra, but I was going to look up the Road Glide Ultra.
Oh, yeah, Road Glide Ultra. There you go. Yeah. Because we can't do the CVO because it doesn't have a trunk. That's right.
It's saying 910 pounds.
Okay, but the trunk's bigger. Yeah, we're not, I don't know. I would have to compare everything like what comes. Yeah, that was a bad comparison for me to do. I apologize. Handlebars, decent for stock. Good pullback. I like them. I wouldn't change them. That's just me. But you can. And we still don't have our handlebar video, Indian handlebar change out because we need a particular bike.
Still need to get John up here.
Yep.
Take his bike apart and put it back together.
We need one more film part of that, but we will have an Indian handlebar video at some point in the future. The seat, 2-up, good curve. I already talked about that. Colors, you can get this bike in black smoke, stealth gray, silver quartz smoke, striker red, metallic, black metallic, icon pearl white, the icon pearl white, black metallic quartz gray. So yeah, it's a lot about this bike. I'm just going to break it down for you really quick and then we're going to get out of here. So pros, engine performance, amazing motor. Well done. You'll love it. Price, decent in the market for what you're getting for current market, I think. Brakes, awesome brakes. Suspension, very good stock suspension. Love that it's electronically controlled if you get the premium package. LED lighting all the way around, great. Key fob, electric locks, love it. Removable trunk, well done. Cons, engine heat. Definitely, hopefully, future iterations, they can figure something out to get rid of some of that engine heat, especially on the insides of my feet. Ride command system, just like everybody, stop or get a decent company to make your integrated system because there's a long ways to go on the ride command system. Engine vibration, not a pro or con. That's going to be personal preference. Just, I would say, ride it. It's definitely more vibration than you probably are going to expect. Can't turn as tight as a Harley. The orange light on the dash, long-standing issue. Hopefully they can get that resolved. Minor con, something that you can deal with and hopefully get cleared at the dealership. And then the saddlebag mechanisms. Maybe they can be a little bit more refined with the latch systems, and maybe they can move the saddlebag lid one to the back so you don't lose your lid storage. Lurch, anything else you have to say?
It is a good looking bike, by the way. I gotta spend, a couple days riding beside you and filming you. It's well designed. It's a very attractive bike. Very pleasing to the eye.
Yeah, it is a good looking bike. And it's just, you can pair it and up next to a Harley, and really the looks at the end of the day, guys, is going to be down to personal preference. One thing the Indian does different, which I've talked about in the past, is they hide everything. It's somewhere in this weird place between Harley and then I want to be careful here, and then Goldwing. It's somewhere in between there because Harley leaves a lot of their components exposed, which is one of the draws of Harley is you can see the transmission back in there. You can see the starter. You can see like the mechanical components of your bike. Yeah,
that either appeals to you or it doesn't. Somebody might, like we like the look of the Harley with the exposed parts. We like that mechanical look, but somebody might like a little more streamlined look like the Indian. So that's the great thing about having options. You can choose a bike that is aesthetically pleasing to you.
Yep. So yeah, if you look at the Indian, you'll see they just cover all of it with plastic panels and stuff. So one of the things to be aware of that I didn't put in notes real quick is one thing I do. This is it's personal preference. I'm not going to call it a pro or con. Be aware of it. And can't remember if I talked about it in my video. I'm going to have to now. I'm in edit, so I might have to add this. The one thing about the Indian Pursuit and all Indian, I shouldn't say all, but I think all, and especially the Pursuit and the Challenger when I did it, your air box is under the fuel tank. So to change your air filter, it's hidden. You've actually got to remove your whole fuel tank. To get to your air filter, everything on the side is fake. It's just for looks. I prefer it coming out the side. The reason is half of owning a bike for us, again, personal preference. We like to add parts. We like to design our bikes. You're not going to be able to do that with the Indian because the air box is underneath there. So if you want to get a high flow air intake like on a Harley, it's going to be underneath the tank, and you can get fake ones, but again, it's all fake. I just prefer the ability to put on my own intake. We can see our push rod tubes, on the Harleys. Again, please don't think I'm knocking it for that.
That's personal preference.
That is
like
going to
look.
appeal to some people. And some people are like, I don't want to see a big air cleaner hanging out the side. I like that it's under the tank. So I'm just mentioning it in case you're thinking Harley or Indian and you're new to this, or maybe you just weren't completely educated. But that is one thing about the Indian. And then, of course, like we always say, I love the Indians. I would love to keep this bike, guys. If I had money galore, just, to throw out, I would have like a BMW. I would have a Goldwing. I love motorcycles, and I love how every manufacturer is different. And they've all, again, I haven't found a perfect bike and probably never going to. They've all got pros, cons, things we think they can do better in the future. I love the Indian. I think you would really enjoy the 2023 Indian Pursuit. I'm glad that I had time to really dive into an Indian. Now that we're hooked up, we're going to likely get Indians in the future when they come out to review. I hope to review some of the other Indians, maybe, some of the non-touring. So yeah, all in all, really enjoyed my time with the Indian. I don't want to give it back. They haven't told me when I have to give it back. I'm going to keep riding the hell out of it while I can. We'll go from there. But hope you guys, here's the deal. We love our patron members. We want you to become a patron member. We want to get you benefits. We want to get to know you better. We want you in the private Facebook group. But hey, if the only way you want to support us right now is through a flat donation, we never balk at a flat donation.
We'd like to thank Brian Larson of Pahrump, Nevada. We were just there last summer. Douglas, or actually this spring, summer, whatever. Douglas Emerson and Peter Hondo.
There you go, lawabidingbiker.com/donate. That's /donate. It puts a little fuel in the Law Abiding Biker gas tank.
Keep this thing running on down the road.
There you go, guys. We appreciate those flat donations. Definitely helps out. All right. With that said, anything final thoughts on the Indian Lurch?
It's a good looking bike. It's a well designed bike. Does it have some flaws? They all do. The Harleys do as well. It ultimately comes down to what you like. So, like you said, we support all bikes. Get out there and ride them. Go to a demo day and ride a Harley, ride an Indian, see what you like. There's going to be different things on both that appeal to you. And just do your research and do some demoing when you can. And biggest thing is you get 2 knees in the breeze.
There you go. Hopefully podcasts like this and our videos and our YouTube channel help you. Because let's just face it, when you go for demo day, you get to ride it for like a half hour. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be able to learn what I learned about it having it 3 weeks. So that's why we try to do this, guys. And that's why I get so nitpicky with stuff. So yeah, you can feel it in a half hour, the vibrations. Would you be able to figure out with storage that the mechanism gets in the way of you're not going to be able to figure out all the small things. So hopefully our video helps with the overall picture. Then you get to get out on it for your half hour and you can just focus on how it feels to you. And you're like, oh yeah, Ryan already told me that the mechanisms could be a little bit, all that stuff. The only last thing I'll say, I've said it before, not a pro or con. If you're in the market to purchase a Harley or an Indian or Goldwing, just understand when it comes to Indian, the aftermarket parts are just not as plentiful. Like 100-to-1 Harley, you can get anything you want. Aftermarket, you can build your bike. The reason is there's just not as many Indians on the road. And so the aftermarket companies don't make as many parts. I'll give you your final thought. They don't make as many aftermarket parts. So the other thing is the dealer network. Just be aware, that's my last thought, is Harley has dealerships everywhere. Indian, like us right here in this town, we've got to drive at least an hour and 15 to get to the nearest Indian dealership. They're just not as plentiful. So the network and the support there, it's not a con. It's something to be aware of and what your particular needs are.
Being that they're not as common, one of the pros of that is when people see them, they get pretty excited. We had several people on our 2-day trip go, hey, is that the new Indian? And come up and take a look at it. So there is definitely a benefit there, that they're just not, you don't see as many people riding them. So when somebody sees them, they get excited about it.
Yeah, very true.
If you want to be a little different,
yep,
there's an opportunity for you there.
Yeah. Good call. Well said with that. We are going to take it out of here, guys. Thanks. That was a 2-hour and 15-minute episode.
Oh, wow.
That was a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Don't forget to check out my video. I know you learned a lot here, but it's a lot more. It's 30 minutes. It's a lot. It's in edit, but I get to put visuals to a lot of the stuff I talked about. So obviously the podcast is good. And and you'll hear some things in this podcast that you won't see on the video that I cut out because it wasn't of too much importance, or I say it way more succinctly. I kind of gloss over it, so to speak. That's just the way video goes. Because I can't make a 2-hour video like this 2-hour podcast, although we did do some fun stuff up front. But nonetheless, guys, appreciate all your support. Appreciate you guys being here. I hope you're getting some riding in. That's all I'm saying.
I know it was a long podcast because I got Lou Dog over here up in my grill.
Yep.
Getting some love.
He's looking for some attention. Well, he's looking for attention too. He's needy.
Are you a needy little boy?